Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
You have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
Welcome back, Truth Seeker. April 24th, 2019. This is the Gematria Effect. I'm Zachary K. Hubbard. Recently started broadcasting the show in a live stream on YouTube. If you just want to listen on the radio, the place to do it is tfrlive.com. TFR stands for Truth Frequency Radio. Every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific, out here on the West Coast, 9 p.m. to midnight. Again, it is internet radio, so wherever you are in the world, this is the time it's on at. 3 hours starting right now. And if you've never listened before, it's a caller-driven program. I do suggest you call in early and be willing to be patient. There's usually a lot of people in line. In recent weeks, it's been hard to get through all the calls. But if you call in earlier, you'll most likely definitely get on the air. And typically what I do is let the callers have the reins. You know, I put out enough content each week, Patreon, YouTube, you know, I don't even know how many hours of video I upload each week. Tons of blog posts. So rather than listen to me talk some more, I just like to hear the voices of other people and what's going on in their minds. Of course, the big news, living here in the United States of amnesia, where nobody remembers anything past Monday, the big news that's still on people's minds is the Easter bombings in Sri Lanka, April 21st, 2019, a date that we said to circle at the very beginning of the year when we mapped out all the dates with 19 numerology in the 2019 calendar year. The reason we did that is because the word chaos in Gematria equals 19. So 19 dates in the year 2019, you know they got to be extra juicy, especially when you realize the New World Order's motto is order out of chaos. And they do everything by this code of letters and numbers, which is Gematria. We also circled the date April 21st because it was a date with 44 and 64 numerology as well. And the word kill equals 44 and 64. Not by surprise, we get a big New World Order false flag on that date. And they said it was revenge for the attack in New Zealand on the mosques in Christchurch, which was March 15th, another date that we said to circle months in advance. We said to circle that date in October of 2018 because the New World Order does everything by this code and they leave riddles for what event is likely coming next. And just think about how gullible you have to believe to accept these narratives that are put out by the mainstream. Can you imagine some people conspiring and going, man, they attacked New Zealand. What should we do? Let's attack Sri Lanka. I mean, does that make any sense? Of course, the news never makes any sense if you think instead of just believe and accept what you're told. You know, they call the mainstream media programming, and that's what most people do is get programmed by it. They don't question it. They just take it in, and it becomes their consciousness. So anyway, we can talk about the Easter bombing. Be sure to circle next Sunday, which is Orthodox Easter. That's where Easter is celebrated in terms of the Julian calendar alignment. So this coming Sunday, April 28th, on our calendar, the Gregorian calendar, on the Julian calendar, that date's April 15th. And do you remember anything in recent history on April 15th? Here in the United States of Amnesia, everyone's probably already forgotten, but just recently we had the Notre Dame fire and the Al-Aqsa Mosque fire, the two major fires at the two religious holy sites in the world, Paris and Jerusalem. In history, we've had the Boston Marathon bombing. It's the day the Titanic fully submerged. It's the day Lincoln died. With regards to the Boston Marathon bombing, did you see the latest story about the Easter bombing? That now it's two brothers who are the son of a wealthy spice trader. They called him a spice tycoon. I've never heard those two words put together before, but now I have. Anyhow, the Bomber Brothers, does that remind you of anything? The Bomber Brothers. Reminds me of two recent false flag terrorist attacks. One in Brussels, Belgium on March 22nd, 2016. And the one it really reminds me of is the Boston Marathon bombing. The Sarnail brothers, where Dozakari got to be like the model on Rolling Stone. And anyway, that detail came out today, the 114th day of the year. The bombers were brothers. This is today's detail, April 24th, the 114th day of the year. The reason that's hilarious is because in Gematria, Boston Marathon bombing equals 114. So what a day to get this new detail about the Bomber Brothers, especially in light of the fact that Orthodox Easter falls on this coming Sunday, which will be the London Marathon, which reminds that 28 days prior, March 31st, we had the death of the rapper married to Lauren London, who died in front of the store Marathon. And his album Victory Lap went to #1 on the charts. And he died on the anniversary of Jesse Owens, the track star. And the whole thing was a big April Fool's joke. If you missed all this work that we put out in the last month, you really should check it out. We've been looking at this marathon. Could it be deja vu again? There's been one other marathon attacked in New Jersey since the Boston Marathon bombing. Could there be a third? So we're going to keep an eye on it, especially with today's detail on the 114th day of the year of the Bomber Brothers. Again, Boston Marathon bombing, 114. And if you weren't paying attention last year, we showed how the Boston Marathon bombing was synced up with the 114th World Series, which was won by the Boston Red Sox. No joke, from the day of the Boston Marathon bombing to the start of the 114th World Series was a span of 2018 days for the 2018 World Series number 114. Getting the whole world of sports and news synced up, and that shouldn't come to surprise as anyone who's awake, 9/11, Patriot Act, New England Patriots, Hurricane Katrina, the Saints. These things happen. So we got the London, we can talk about the London Marathon if anybody else has any other insight. We got the Easter bombing. We can still talk more about the recent fires. We got rig sports. We got definitive evidence in last night's basketball game of the technology they're using in basketball to ensure outcomes. Be sure to check out the video uploaded. Time Lord Osceola, regular caller of this program. You got a great clip of it. Put it online. I made a video sharing that clip today as well. Damian Lillard's shot going way left. No chance. Looks like an air ball until all of a sudden in midair, miraculous bend to the right, back through the hoop. I'd hate to play that guy in pool. I've never seen a basketball with so much English. So anyway, all sorts of things to talk about. Rigged elections in Ukraine. If you haven't seen my video on that rigged election in Ukraine, the Jewish comedian, you better check that out. They always get the last laugh. Anyway, I've said enough. I'm going to go out to the callers. The line's already getting long. If you do want to call in tonight, and you're on YouTube, the phone number's in the title. It's 213-233-3998. Be sure to be patient. We're going to go out to Bellevue, Washington first. Caller.
How's it going tonight, Zach?
It's going well. How are you?
Pretty good. I did post a comment in one of your videos this week. I wanted to revisit the Roger Moore death, that James Bond actor. You covered it about almost 2 years ago on your blog.
That was part of the whole May 22nd, 2017 bombing ritual at the Ariana Grande concert, if I remember right.
That's what you wrote in your blog, so I think your memory's good. But I think it also syncs up with the 8/11/19 date.
Okay.
It's a span of 811 days to that day.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense. It's the same day Trump was at the Western Wall. Yep, that's right. That's right. And there was the headline about how Ariana Grande's song, I can't remember what it was, it could have been used for a Bond movie. All that stuff was happening at the same time. Okay.
Yeah, and then you had that Clerks actress die or something rather. So I don't know who that is. So anyway, so that's, the 141st prime number. Roger Moore equals 141 in reverse ordinal. And he starred in that James Bond film, The Man with the Golden Gun. And the villain in that movie first name was Francisco. So Francisco Scaramanga was the character, the villain character in the movie. And his Gematria equals full name 122 in reverse ordinal. Like how is San Francisco on 122nd meridian?
It sure is.
Okay, that's what I thought. It shows must be on the 121st and right on the 122nd, like right in between. Because sometimes they call it 121, sometimes they call it 122. I don't know why. But, anyway, this Francisco character was played by actor Christopher Lee, and his Gematria is 523 in Jewish, just like how Roger Moore died on May 23rd, 523. Catch that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just listening.
Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to take your comment off there. There's one more fact here that was interesting. Roger Moore died on the date, leaving 222 days left in the year. And from his birthday to his date of death is a span of 222 days. So,
very
anyway, I'll
interesting.
take the comment off the air.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, good observations. I do remember how that death was synced up with the terrorist attack the day prior with that was just one of the biggest hoaxes there was of all time, because the footage even got out just showing what a hoax it was. If you guys don't remember, there was a supposed terrorist attack at an Ariana Grande concert, May 22nd, 2017, while Donald Trump was in Jerusalem for Jerusalem Day. And the video emerged of what it looked like inside the arena after the attack. And people were calmly walking out. Over the loudspeaker, the announcer was saying, "Be calm, there's nothing to worry about, everyone is safe, please exit safely." And it just kept on repeat. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, it's a terrorist attack, and everyone's just calmly walking out of there, and that's the announcement? And then there's no evidence that anything was going on in the arena. But meanwhile, in international headlines, terrorist attack. And that was another date that we called in advance to circle for a false flag that year, because it was the date with the 44 and 64 numerology, just for how long we've been talking about that pattern. Just like April 21st, 2019 was the date with the 44 and 64 numerology. And I still remember they came out with that one victim, and her name was something like Georgiana Calandre or something, like Gregorian calendar. Anyway, I think most of those videos have been deleted so many channels ago. Again, we are on channel number 18 here. But the blog posts are still up with all that information if you want to go back and look. The Roger Moore death, the parallels to Ariana Grande, the headlines at the time about how her song Dangerous Woman could have been used in a Bond movie. So, appreciate the reminder. May 22nd. It's also the reflection date of August 11th. May 22nd is the 142nd day of the year, leaving 223 days remaining. And August 11th is the 223rd day of the year, leaving 142 days remaining. Terrorist equals 142. And the name of that supposed victim, Georgiana Calandre or whatever it was, however they spelled it. Just remember how it's summed to 142. All right, next caller. What's going on?
Hello?
Yeah, you're wrong.
Oh, how you doing, Zach?
Doing well, thank you.
All right. I just wanted to ask about the number 26. I know there's a lot of words in gematria that sum to 26, but I just wanted to ask you for a more clear description of like how is that why is that number so important? Why is that a very, 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 very special number in gematria?
Sure.
I keep seeing the number 26 everywhere, and it's just bothering me. So.
Sure. So I know you haven't read my book already, and I highly recommend you do that because the first chapter is why are there 26 letters in the English alphabet? And if you read that first chapter, I know you'll feel like you got more than your money's worth, but the significance of 26 is this. It comes from Hebrew. The four-letter name of God, the tetragrammaton, in Hebrew sums to 26. And if you write out the word God in English, G-O-D, G's the seventh letter, O's the 15th, D's the fourth, 7 plus 15 plus 4 is 26. Mankind is made in the 26th verse of the Bible. And the first man is given the name Adam. When you flip the alphabetic order around, the name Adam has the gematria of 26. When you flip the alphabetic order around and use the rules of numerology, Adam's 26.
And then,
if you
and then Moses was born 26 generations after. Wow.
Right, exactly.
Think about it, because crazy.
And there's a whole lot more to it, but if you write out the word letter and use the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, letter equals 26, and here we have this 26-letter alphabet. So, yeah, the word spell, spell has gematria of 26. A whole lot of things. You really should read the first chapter in my book, but yeah.
What else? There's another Bible verse, Revelation 13:18, and the number of the beast. How does that relate to this code here?
Sure. So Revelation 13:18 is a Greek isopsophy riddle. Isopsophy is gematria, but that's just the word they use in Greek, using because the old Greek alphabet was based on numbers too, just essentially imitating what was in Hebrew. And if you write out isopsophy and use the Sumerian cipher in English, multiplying the alphabetic order times 6, isopsophy sums to 666. And yeah, if you notice Revelation 13:18, 13's the sixth prime number, and 18 factors into 6 plus 6 plus 6, so it doesn't seem like it's that verse by accident. And in Genesis, because 666 is the number of the beast, but it's also the number of a man. And in chapter 3 of my book, I really break down that verse. But in Genesis 6:6, God regrets making mankind, which is interesting because God makes man on the 6th day, and mankind with the alphabetic order also sums to 66, just like Revelation's the 66th book of the Bible. So
yeah, I'm familiar with the work. I just had to clear up that on a couple things. I haven't read the book. I actually have it. I think I have it downloaded on an ebook or something, but I really gotta read it. But
yeah, just read the first chapter.
That up because I just kept seeing those numbers.
Read the first chapter, man. It'll blow your mind. There's so much more to the 26 thing. If you read the first chapter, you'll be like, wow. So.
Oh, okay, wow. Yeah, it's a trip because like before I knew about gematria, when I found out about gematria, I looked at like some of the synchronicity like in my life, like of how it was, this was implemented in my life, and like I noticed that if I type my name in full in the English ordinal, it comes to 169. And then I looked at my apartment building door and I noticed, wow, I live in apartment 169. And then, yeah, just hilarious. And then also in another cipher, my full name is something number 69. And I noticed that I live on exit number 69. So I'm like, Yeah, it's just a trip how that works, and yeah, it's pretty nuts.
It is. It is.
Well, oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you got one more thought here?
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the word goyim, and what exactly does that mean? I know it's something to do with Jewish, something about Jewish people, but I'm not sure exactly what that word exactly means.
So it's a derogatory term for somebody who's not Jewish, and essentially the belief in the Talmud is that only Jews are considered humans because they're the only species intelligent enough to deserve the title human. So a goyim is an animal, which is a non-Jew. And that's why if you go to 7-Eleven and you eat that poison food, it's the goyim food products. For anybody who hasn't seen my video on the secret Jewish history of 7-Eleven, which was a video thanks to the brilliant caller from New York, you should really go back and watch that video. You can look it up. If you do a web search right now for the secret Jewish history of 7-Eleven, you'll see the articles written by a Jewish publication. And in the first paragraph, they talk about how they use Gematria to encode their products. So they got, people eating the goyim food products, poisoning themselves.
Wow, that's crazy. Insane. What else?
Let's leave it there for now, man, just because there's a lot of people on hold. So I do appreciate the call. There's always next week. Keep it up, man.
Alrighty.
You have a good night.
All right.
All right, let's go out to New York City.
Nice to talk to you again, Zach.
Hey, there's that brilliant caller that tipped me off to the article about the secret Jewish history of 7-Eleven. What's up, man?
Yeah, actually, the website is called The Forward, also known as the Jewish Forward. It's a mainstream article. They're mainstream Democrats. And the author was Seth Rogovoy. And in your video, you did the Gematria, his name, Rogovoy, and it came out to 117.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So I just like to thank some of the members of the audience who've given me some support. I contacted Hickok, and there's also Matt, who does he's the expert. He does these great golf decodes. I've been talking to him, and he's been pleasant support. So I'd like to shout out them. I've met Johnny from Long Island a couple weeks ago, and Al from Arizona, the postal worker, he helped me out. So I like to thank them. And I generally see positive comments from the community. And I like to thank you as well, Zach. You've been an inspiration. So I want to talk about April 15th. It's a significant occult day, and you talked about all the different events that have happened on April 15th. But were you aware of it's called the Hillsborough disaster? Hillsborough is a soccer stadium disaster in England that happened on April 15th.
That's where the roof collapsed, right? The roof collapsed?
Sorry, what was that? Sorry?
Is that when the roof of the roof covering collapsed on the people?
No, that's not it.
Okay, so
it's actually, yeah, I'll talk about that. Okay, so you've done a lot of work on April 15th as a significant occult sacrificial date. It occurs during the season of sacrifice, from vernal equinox to mid-spring. Multiple events have occurred on April 15th. Abraham Lincoln was shot on April 15th. The Titanic sank on April 15th. The Boston Marathon bombing occurred on April 15th. This year, two major religious monuments, Notre Dame Cathedral and Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, experienced fires on April 15th. And April 15th is tax day in the United States. There is a major event that took place on April 15th, well publicized, worldwide, but not as well known in the United States. That is the 1989 England in the city of Sheffield in the county of Yorkshire, after which New York is named. Also think York Rite Freemasonry. Yorkshire is no stranger to the occult. In a competition known as the FA Cup, the Football Association Cup, an English single-game elimination tournament that includes teams from over 10 divisions of English football, world-famous giant club Liverpool faced Nottingham Forest in the semi-final at a neutral site, Hillsborough Stadium, home of the team Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. In 1989, steel fence barriers encircled the field.
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you real quick, just because we're about to go to commercial, so we'll save it for after the break. Just sit tight, people. Okay. Just a couple minutes. Don't forget, ritual sacrifice equals 154, like 15/4 for April 15th. So we'll be right back, everybody. Just a few minutes here. Okay, so while we're on the commercial break, I'll interact with the chat for people listening on the phone. I know this can be annoying because you're hearing commercials and my voice at the same time. Appreciate the compliments in the chat. Let's watch the stock market tomorrow. We just saw it hit the record high. Tomorrow's a date with 68 numerology. I've seen the market do really curious things on 68 dates. Market equals 68. Donald John Trump equals 68. Of course, he was running for president during the time of the show House of Cards. House of Cards, a terminology for a market on the verge of collapse. So tomorrow's the date with the 68 numerology, April 25th. And maybe I'll just look real quick and just see how that lines up with Trump's birthday, which is June 14th. That's the 165th day of the year. Maybe I can just figure this out real quick. So I guess it's 50 days before Trump's birthday, and Donald equals 50, so does America. So yeah, I'll be paying attention to the market news tomorrow. Let me make sure my math's right, that is 50 days. I think it is. Let's see here. Punching in the calculator. Yeah. 50 days to Trump's birthday tomorrow. Donald 50, America 50, just using the alphabetic order. America in the 50 states. So I've always just, I've been documenting these curious market stories on dates with 68 numerology. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Thanks, man. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Yeah, Phil Hartman. I think that's a death that I've forgotten to look into in the past. I could look into that. Let me just look at it real quick. May 28th. He died on the 148th day of the year. Was that a leap year? Wait, 98. Maybe that was a leap year. So the 149th day of the year. I have to look more at it. 33, 131, 60, 42 date numerology. I'd have to look more at his death. So, unless I have an old blog post on it. I don't. I'll do one on Phil Hartman after the show. Okay, we're going to be coming back from the break here. All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. We're taking your calls. We got the brilliant caller from New York. He's about to tell us about the Hillsborough disaster at a football game, April 15th, 1989. And again, the theme is tragedies on April 15th throughout history, just like we saw the burning of the two religious sites April 15th this year, the date the Titanic sank, the date Lincoln died, the date of the Boston Marathon bombing. And again, we pointed out that that date's written 15/4 in the majority of the world, and ritual sacrifice equals 154. But I know the caller has a whole lot more, so back to him.
Thanks.
Yeah, welcome.
So, all right, the two teams playing were Liverpool Football Club and Nottingham Forest in the semi-final of the FA Cup at a neutral site, Hillsborough Stadium, home of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. In 1989, steel-fenced barriers encircled the field, separating the fans from the field. The stadium was full to capacity, but thousands more Liverpool fans were still hoping to get in. The authorities, with a crush of fans pressing to get into an already full stadium, instead of simply closing the turnstiles and letting them disperse, opened the mass exit gates that are used to empty the stadium or empty the stand after the game. The ensuing rush of fans into an already packed to capacity terrace. There was a terrace section of the stadium with no seats, so fans were standing, caused hundreds of fans to be pinned against the steel barrier fences at the base of the stand and the edge of the field, causing mass asphyxiation. In total, the official number of deaths was 96. The subsequent movement to investigate the incident, which is still ongoing 30 years later, uses the model Justice for the 96. The incident is known as the Hillsborough disaster, the worst disaster in British sports history. There was some noticeable occult symbolism for those who are awake to it. Firstly, it was the April 15th date during sacrifice season. Secondly, it was a location. Hillsborough Stadium is home of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, nicknamed the Owls. Hence, the stadium was replete with owl imagery. Owls are an occult sacrifice symbol. The U.S. Capitol Dome, for example, with Goddess Columbia Statue of Freedom, is encircled by an owl shaped by the surrounding roads. You can see that on Google Earth or on a Google search. There's the 30-foot owl at Bohemian Grove, where the cremation of care ritual takes place every midsummer. Even after Sandy Hook, CNN's Anderson Cooper, reporting at the elementary school site, held up a child's drawing of an owl. There are numerous more examples of the owl as an Illuminati occult and sacrifice symbol. And then there is the official death toll, 96, a number displayed to this day at Liverpool's home stadium and by fans every home game. 96 is the Gematria value of Freemason. An interesting fact, because the families of the victims, while the inquest dragged on and was subjected to delay after delay, decided to demand that any member of the West Yorkshire and South Yorkshire Police Department, especially those in higher positions and involved in the investigation, as well as any other political figures involved, reveal to the public whether or not they were Freemasons. This was mainstream news in Britain. Yeah, something like this would never happen in the United States, but this was mainstream news in Britain. And credit to the families for being awake and recognizing a dark occult ritual. If you Google South Yorkshire Police, Hillsborough Freemason, or West Yorkshire Police, Hillsborough Freemason, or just Yorkshire Police, Hillsborough Freemason, you will get multiple mainstream British sources, including The Guardian, which is Britain's equivalent to the New York Times, whose headline reads, quote, Masons colluded, Hillsborough court told. The first paragraph reads, senior South Yorkshire police officers, who were Freemasons, orchestrated a, quote, Masonic conspiracy to shift the blame after the Hillsborough disaster in 1989. The inquests into the deaths of the 96 victims have been told. That is an article from 2015. An example from the Daily Mail. South Yorkshire police today face questions over whether powerful, quote, secret society, the Freemasons, held sway over the force at the time of Hillsborough. And from the Daily Express, headline, Hillsborough relatives anger at, quote, secret society police links. There's a phenomenon of people losing loved ones to sudden unexpected deaths, and then soon after rising to prominence and fame, usually in show business, but also in politics, business, and sports. The same happened to a Liverpool Football Club legend and local Liverpool hero, Steven Gerrard, who spent his entire career at Liverpool before one final season with Major League Soccer's Los Angeles Galaxy, who was one of the all-time greats of English football. He lost his cousin in the Hillsborough disaster. They may not be connected, but this pattern is often seen with celebrities. The stand where the deaths and injuries occurred is called Leppings Lane stand. Gematria of Leppings and Gerrard show a match in 2 out of 4 base ciphers at 44 and 118. 2 very ominous numbers to Gematria meters. So that's an April 15th event we should all be aware of, the Hillsborough disaster of 1989. But also noteworthy is that it wasn't Liverpool Football Club's first rodeo when it comes to stadium disasters. 4 years earlier, at the Heysel Stadium in Brussels, Belgium, in the European Cup final against Juventus of Italy, Liverpool fans attacked Juventus fans inside the stadium just before kickoff, causing the stand to collapse, killing 39 Juventus fans. Liverpool was subsequently banned from European and international competitions for 6 years. The gematria of Liverpool Football Club is 322. Interesting that former Liverpool player and manager Ronnie Moran died in 2017 on March 22nd. Also interesting is the gematria of Yorkshire and asphyxiate. They match in 2 base ciphers at 128 and 52, and in septenary at 39. In fact, the owners of Liverpool Football Club are the same owners of the Boston Red Sox, the Fenway Sports Group. And each year, they face the dilemma of which memorial to attend. April 15th Boston Marathon bombing or the April 15th Hillsborough disaster.
And here we are talking about, we were just talking about how the Boston Marathon bombing was synced up with the Red Sox World Series. So go figure. I didn't know that. Amazing.
Yeah. Remember that Liverpool's other stadium disaster was the Heysel Stadium disaster in Brussels, Belgium, whose airport would later be attacked on March 22nd, 322. In 2016, Liverpool Football Club equals 322.
Right.
Former manager and player Ronnie Moran died on March 22nd, 2017. Fenway Sports Group owns Liverpool Football Club. Do the gematria comparison between Heysel, Heysel, and Fenway, and you get a perfect gematria jackpot match in all 4 base ciphers. I also wanted to talk about the London Marathon that's upcoming. I'm thinking that maybe the winner might be Mo Farah. His full name is short for Mohammed Farah. He's a British long distance runner. In the last 2 Olympics, he's won double gold, so he's won 4 gold medals in the last 2 Olympics. and he's recently started doing marathons. But he's British of Somali origin, and basically it's the reason I think he might win is based on the number 51. The Nipsey Hussle incident, theater, whatever that was a predictive program for the London Marathon. His girlfriend name was London, and Marathon was all over his album titles and his clothing line. The Marathon has Gematria of 51. London is on the 51st parallel north. The date of the upcoming London Marathon, April 28, 2019, 4 plus 28 plus 19 is 51. The date of the inaugural London Marathon, the very first, has the numerology of 51 as well. There's 3 plus 29 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 1. The term capital of England has Gematria of 51 in septenary. Mo Farah's birthday of March 23rd is 5 weeks and 1 day from the marathon.
Amazing.
Or 1 month and 5 days. 5-1 or 1-5. And then also the Nipsey Hussle death, which is linked to the London Marathon. One of the key numbers there is 331 because he was killed on March 31st, 331. From the date of the upcoming London Marathon, April 28th, so Mo Farah's next birthday is a span, including the end date, is a span of 331 days. So I think Mo Farah might be the winner based on those numbers. And just lastly, the number 39 features quite heavily in the marathon. This is the 39th London Marathon. Big Ben equals 39. Mo Farah is from Somalia. Somali equals 39. And the Somalis have been in the news. The Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who challenged the Israeli lobby in Congress, saying it's all about the Benjamins.
Right.
And think about what that means, all about the Benjamins. Benjamin Netanyahu, think about Big Ben, the London clock tower. Big Ben equals 39. Brexit equals 39. The term the tower equals 39 because the tower is, the Big Ben is a clock tower. Also, the EU Capitol building, European Union Capitol building is actually modeled after an artist's rendition of the Tower of Babel. And if something happened, it could be linked to trying to sway public opinion against Brexit. Because the first time Brexit was passed, a MP, Joe Cox, was supposedly stabbed and shot dead by a pro-Brexit extremist.
And that whole the whole Brexit thing was a giant 39 ritual. I remember covering that. Cameron 39, Brexit 39, May 39. I forget the London mayor's name. His name was 39. He might have been 39 years old. They're all Libras. Libras 39. Big Ben 39. It was synced up with the movie. What was that movie called? Shoot. Forget. There was the name of a movie it was synced up with, and it equaled 39. But yeah, it was just such a super 39 show. Anyway, continue, please.
Also, this is the season of sacrifice from the vernal equinox to mid-spring. Season of sacrifice equals 167. 167 is the 39th prime. That's why you're seeing so many terror attacks. But the term the tower, which could refer to Big Ben, it could refer to the EU capital, which is modeled after the artist rendition of the Tower of Babel. Also, the Eiffel Tower. Eiffel Tower lined up with Eric Holder, who supposedly killed Nipsey Hussle on 3/31. The Eiffel Tower opened on 3/31. The term the tower also refers to a tarot card, the tower. This is the description of the tarot card. The tower is commonly interpreted as meaning danger, crisis, destruction, and liberation. It is associated with unforeseen change. And of course, Benjamin Netanyahu, 93, the reflection. And the phrase, it's all about the Benjamin's baby, which is what Ilhan Omar tweeted something 93. Mohammed Faris is 93. Boston Marathon Bombing is 93. So, yeah, 39 features in the 39th London Marathon. Yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for having me on again.
Sure. Just before you go, here's a few things I noticed. Hillsborough disaster equals 119 like Liverpool, and the Heysel Stadium disaster was on a date with 119 numerology, 119, that number that we see everywhere. Yep. Of course, Liverpool also sums to 47. There's a lot of words that sum to 119 and 47, and Heysel sums to 70 for the reflection. So those numbers, they are just always looming around the tragedy. And I'm sure there's a whole lot more to it too, but awesome work as always. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, another number that comes up a lot is 29. 29 comes up a lot.
Sure. It's the first number that has a numerology of 11 after 11. 29, 2 plus 9, 11. Masonics, 29. So, yeah, it's a big one.
All right. Have a great rest of the show.
All right. You too. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. And I see the call boards. Hold on. Let me fix the call board here. While I'm fixing the call board, he was talking about how 96 dead at the first football stadium disaster, Freemason equals 96. The amount reported dead at the next football stadium disaster was 39, and Masonry equals 39. And don't forget, Masonry also sums to 105, like how April 15th, the date of the first disaster, is the 105th day of the year. So again and again, all of these rituals point in one direction. And what he was just saying about even just the evidence out there that was already known about the Freemasons having something to do with this. So great work as always, friend. Let's go out to Medford, Oregon.
Hey, Zach, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
How's the chemtrails up north of...
They never end. I don't know where they get all this stuff from. Yeah, it never ends.
Well, I did a search today on your blog and it came up empty, and it kind of surprised me.
For what?
Have you ever heard of the Smith-Munch Act? Smith.
I've definitely heard of it, and I'm just trying to place what that is right now. I probably haven't done a blog post on it.
It's an anti-propaganda law that was brought into effect back in 1948 and was in effect until 2012, shortly before Sandy Hook.
Okay. Okay.
It's pretty significant. I mean, when you start an act with the 33, it pretty much tells you who they're answering, in my humble opinion. When you think about the people on the outside, thinking about propaganda and where does it come from? It's coming from our government. And a good Christian friend of mine gave me a little wall sign to hang on next to my door. And she says, when you choose to trust despite the circumstances, it's called faith. Isn't that special? I mean, you just got to have blind faith. That's what they watch Fox News for, is blind faith.
Sure.
Now, myself, I go back to a generation that was trained in what we call the 5 W's. You ever heard of them?
The who, what, why, when, where?
Exactly. And I like to throw in a how.
Okay.
So who, what, who gains, cui bono, what is the expected outcome, where did it happen, why did it happen, when did it happen, how did it happen. They all go to this cabal that we like to expose. And something I came across recently was how they might be handling the next generation of this Terminator movie that we're living. You ever heard of Kairos? Kairos?
I haven't. Kairos, that way with the K. No.
it's an AI,
Okay.
artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Basically, you're 19 front and center, AI 1 and 9, and it's goes back to the name Kairos goes back ancient. It's another name for Chronos, time.
Okay.
You look at Kairos, it's 37 and 73. And it's got some hefty numbers behind it, 38, which is death, 47, which is the beast. And you've got just liar after liar after liar that these people relate to, going back to that when you choose to trust despite the circumstances, when you know they're lying to you, and you just turn your back on your own brain and trust Fox News or CBS or NPR or CNN or any of your local 47 stations.
Right.
So Kairos, very important. Kairos AI, it's all about 47. It's all about time. It's all about the AI. And the ends justify the means. And that's the ends justify means is really important too. And one final thing before we go to the cruise, to the music, you've got to be cruel to be kind. A top 25 by a fellow named Nick Lowe. You've got to be cruel to be kind was a pretty popular song. And wouldn't you know it, the numbers are 113, 311, and 102. You've got to be cruel to be kind.
Huh.
There's nothing we can do that's worthwhile without hurting people.
Interesting. Hey,
that's what they're telling us. And that.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, it's cool. It's just, you've got to be cruel to be kind. Nick Lowe, 1979. And it just backs up how this mind screw that they put in our heads all the time. You've got to be cruel to be kind. It's like your parents giving you a spanking to correct you, when we know that the prisons, which used to be called corrections departments, don't correct anybody. The only person that's correcting anybody is you, Zach. Congratulations.
Well, there's other people. I appreciate that. I just wanted to say something. I looked up the Smith.
Hey, a big shout out to Derek. I know she was gone for a couple of weeks, and I just know she's posting again, and I just want to give him a big shout out.
I hope he's out there listening and hearing. I actually reached out to him, and I'm going to check my phone to see if he texted back. But yeah, I'm not sure if he's bummed out because people in his own life are rejecting the work or what. But I kind of want to find out what's going on with Derek too, because he hasn't been contributing as much. I mean, his calculator is still there, so he's still the MVP. Because for people who don't know, Derek's who built Gematria.com that made this work so accessible for so many people. But
he's awesome. You're awesome, and the Smith-Mundt Act, and then Kairos. Those are two really important things, man. And before the music kicked in, before the Notre Dame fire, there was 12 other fires across France that week. So Notre Dame was the 13th fire.
Go figure. With regards to the Smith-Mundt Act, the Smith-Mundt Act was enacted January 27th, 1948, and a lot stands out about that. First of all, the year 48. Smith-Mundt Act, in the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology equals 48, just like propaganda, same cipher. If you look at the 4-base ciphers and you type it in, Smith-Mundt Act also has gematria of 165 and 78, and the same ciphers as Scottish Rite, which of course has the headquarters in Freemasonry, it has the headquarters in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. And then Scottish Rite of Freemasonry equals 127, like how it was enacted 127, January 27th. You can also write that date 27/1, like 271, the 58th prime, like Freemasonry, Secret Society, etc. So it looks like that act was, just for show.
Well, yeah. I mean, false flags have been around since the Boston Tea Party.
Exactly. So it's all the government's all mind control. So it's just all about creating the illusions and the perception. But yeah, it looks like
the AI manages us all.
Right.
Man-agers. That's what they are.
Okay, so before you go, a lot of people say that to me. They're like, Zach, can't you see it's an AI running it all? And I'm like, well, like what? We live like in a giant computer, or what? When you say it's an AI, what's your idea of this AI? Is it godlike? That's
the propaganda, the computers. Did you know the word computer goes back to the scriptorium? It's an ancient word. It's not new. It's a man with a pencil or chalk and slate. I mean, it's ancient. Computer is an ancient word. It's not new.
Good to know. Hey, we'll be right back, everybody. Awesome call. Thank you so much, friend. All right, we're going to commercial right now. I appreciate it so much. Great call. All right, back interacting with the chat. Just before I left, somebody asked me to look into the death of Phil Hartman. And what's funny is I just plugged in the distance from the day he died to his birthday, and it's 119 days. That number that shows up again and again and again. And then we were having the caller who was talking about those two stadium disasters. The one, the name of the disaster, Hillsborough disaster equals 119. And then the other disaster is on a date with 119 numerology. And that's just a perfect example of how redundant the certain numbers are that are used in tragedy. And with regards to Phil Hartman dying 119 days from his birthday, think of the abbreviation for arsenic, what's been used all throughout history to kill people. It's AS. A is the first letter, S is the 19th, 119. So, eating too many grapes here, now I got the burps. But I'll look more at Phil Hartman's death. I plugged that in and I said, wow, look at that. Dead 119 days from the birthday. So go figure. Yeah, that's true. The 119th day of the year is upcoming. That would be April 29th. April 29th is the 119th day of the year. What about Prince, I Will Die For You? Remember, he wrote it with the number 4 and the letter U. For you. Thank you for the super chat. If anybody else gave a super chat that I didn't see, thank you to you too. Sorry, I don't always have my eyes on the chat. I'm looking at it during the commercial break. During the show, I have to look at the call board. But Prince wrote, I would die for you with the number 4 and the letter U. And again, use the 21st letter. So I would die for you is I would die 4/21, like the date he died, 4/21. And again, one of his hit songs was When Doves Cry. And on the anniversary of his death, we get the Colombo bombing, and Colombo means dove. So I don't think that's a coincidence. You know. Thank you for the super chat. Prince's first album was For You. That's right. Yep. Right on. And somebody said he had an album called Chaos Out of Order or Order Out of... I got to look into that. Something about the Order Out of Chaos play. So I got to look up that. Zach, check out Phil Hartman on Leno, impersonation of Bill, year, months before his death. Bill who? Bill Clinton? I imagine Bill Clinton, since he was the president then. Archie Carras turned $50 into $40 million. That's pretty amazing. I think I see the Arizona caller. I don't normally see him posting on YouTube, but I think I just saw him. 319, 319. Yeah, Prince had that song about 319. He died 319 days after his birthday. Masonic and Killing 319 in the Satanic Cipher. All right, we're coming back from the commercial.
comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, we're back, True Seeker. We got 2 hours left. We're taking your calls. Had some great calls already. A favor to the callers going forward. I know I let a lot of these people at the beginning of the show talk long, but for the rest of the show, if you can focus on one thought, one question, hit us with the home run. It'll help everybody else get their voice in here. Let's go out to Shelbyville, Tennessee. Caller? Caller? It's the man with the astrology breakdowns, but maybe I caught him at a bad time. All right, I'll have to come back. Let's go. Oh, okay.
Hey, I think I'm on now.
Yeah, you're on now. You're on.
Okay, it wasn't unmuted yet.
Oh, weird.
That's what it was.
Okay.
So I'll just get into it. I got a few notes I'm gonna get out there. So Sri Lanka is a big thing recently, and you began the show talking about the date May 22nd, which is really interesting because that's the date that Sri Lanka became a republic. It was May 22nd, 1972, and that was 118 days in numerology. So I thought was interesting. I want to talk about Nikki Haley a little bit. She was also born in 72. But the upcoming May 22nd will be 666 months after the JFK assassination. And May 22nd is an important date astrologically because it's the heliacal setting of Sirius annually for San Francisco's latitude. And she was born 122 days before 522. And the common year, so San Francisco, 122 on the 122nd West meridian. And so last week I called and I mentioned Jupiter, how on April 10th, Jupiter went retrograde, which was Trump's 811th day as president, or 810 days into his presidency, which Tisha B'Av was 810 and 811. That was also 122 days before the beginning of Tisha B'Av, another 122. And the woman that was credited with this imaging the first black hole was Katie Bowman. And she was born on May 9th, 1982, 122 days in numerology. And back to Nikki Haley, she was born. When she was born, Jupiter was at 266 degrees of the ecliptic, which was the location of the galactic center of the black hole. Of course, that connects to Pope Francis. And one more thing about Nikki Haley is she's up for election to join the board of directors at Boeing on April 29th. And that's the same day Saturn goes retrograde.
That's the 119th day of the year, 119.
Right, yeah, 119. And I want to talk about you and Jeff Bezos. You two seem to be aligned astrologically because you were born with your moon in the Golden Gate at 266 degrees of the ecliptic, which is currently at 267. It shifted in this decade. It moved to 267 degrees, which is the Philadelphia area code. But with you and Jeff Bezos, I think it's interesting because if you look at the logo for Amazon, it's an arrow, and the Sagittarius glyph is an arrow, and on the logo it's A to Z. And if you're I don't know, if you're paying attention, if you see something like that in a logo, you're going to think about Gematria. And you guys were born 7,130 days apart. Saturn in Hebrew Gematria is 713. And of course, the galactic center, or the Golden Gate, is in Sagittarius. And just a couple more dates I want to mention that I leave you alone. April 27th, 9/11 turns 218 lunar months. April 26th, the 33rd anniversary of Chernobyl. Melania Trump, I believe, turns 47 or 49, I can't remember. And they're coming out with a television show about Chernobyl on May 6th. Chernobyl is translated to wormwood. Wormwood sums to 126, and May 6th is the 126th day of the year. And that's all I got.
You always got a lot, man. Mind blowing. Yeah, I love the way you connect it. Every time you start talking, I just think, man, I wish we had this truth community and we could like get around the fire and all share our notes and put it together, because then we'd really be getting somewhere. So awesome work as always, man. I appreciate it.
Man. Yeah. All right. Hey, I'm sorry, man. I lied to you. The last thing, Jupiter and the Golden Gate, it will return to the Golden Gate on November 19th of this year. And I swear, man, that's all I got.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Very interesting. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
All right. We're going out to Ohio. Ohio next.
Hey, Zach. How's it going? It's Gary.
Thanks for calling, Gary.
Hey, man. So I just wanted to ask you, I've been trying to tell my dad about this whole, Gematria and everything, trying to convince my parents. You know how people are. They don't seem to believe it. It's a lot to take in at once. Well, my dad, he's big into horse racing, and I know the Kentucky Derby's coming up here. I'm on your Patreon. I was wondering if you're going to be doing anything with the Kentucky Derby coming up here. If there's any correlations to what's happening in the future, like, with August 11th and all of that. So I guess basically my question is just, if you have anything planned for Kentucky Derby and decoding it.
We're definitely going to be decoding the Kentucky Derby, and there's some big clues hanging out there. So you can show your dad things like this in recent years. We called both Triple Crowns before they happened. The first one was really easy because it was a prime number relationship. It had been 37 years since the last Triple Crown, and the next Triple Crown winner was going to be the 12th. 37's the 12th prime. That horse became American Pharaoh. American has Gematria 37, not the full name. But then we had the Triple Crown last year. Last year was the 144th opportunity at a Triple Crown since they began the stat, and Triple Crown in Gematria sums to 144. Triple Crown also has a Gematria of 153, and I'm saying that I don't think we're going to see another Triple Crown winner until the 153rd year, that there's the possibility. So show your dad some of those things.
Wow, I definitely want to, and I'm trying to tell him, I tell him about all your sports picks and everything like that. And, he goes, if he can predict, something about the Kentucky Derby coming up here, he goes, tell him to give me some good picks, and then maybe I'll start believing. I'm like, well, that's not the only thing that's there. But
no, it can be done with the horse racing. It's all the same. So, yeah, we got some big clues for the horse racing thing. So, yeah, we'll be doing it, man.
Looking forward to it, Dak. So I'll be happy to tell him.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. You take care. Thanks for everything.
All right. Yeah, you too. Okay. Let's go out to West Virginia. West Virginia. Oh, what happened there? All right, West Virginia. West Virginia.
Hey, Zach, it's Bow and Arrow. I have discovered that Gematria can prove without any doubt that the lottery has to be rigged, that people are not choosing the numbers, but the lottery system is choosing them. I don't think there's any question about it. This big jackpot winner, okay, of course, jackpot's 113 on the 113th day of the year. Powerball's 139. The day numerology was 39. The guy that won is 24 years old, and Powerball's the same in 2 ciphers. Contrived is 47, and the prize was 47.7 million. But this guy's name, okay, he bought his ticket in New Berlin and at a speedway, and he won the lottery. All 3 of those are 30 in the septenary cipher. Now, it's interesting because when you do certain things with the septenary cipher, you find a lot of really interesting things. Usually when you take the numbers and multiply them out, like Manuel is 16 in the septenary, Franco is 18 in the septenary, and 16 times 18 is 288, one of the points of the pentagram. Well, if you take the numbers underneath Manuel, you know, which are 11652 in septenary, just like, and you do that again with Franco, okay? Well, and multiply them across, Manuel's 60, Franco's 180. And when you multiply the 180 times the 60, and by the way, 60 and 180 are 2 points of the hexagram. So you have 2 points on the same line of the hexagram. Positive proof, in my opinion, that this was meant to be like this. 180 times 60 is 10,800. The 108 is super important because when we multiply the septenary cipher like that, in several places, like out in the death of Lisa, who was the first person killed in the Parkland shooting, when you multiply hers out, it comes to 1,008. And even the local murder here that I have a series on, the woman named Julia Davis, when you multiply hers out, it comes to 1,080. And of course, why that's important, the radius of the moon is 1,080 miles. The diameter of the Earth and the moon together is 10,080 miles. Just the same numbers with just changing the zeros around a little bit. And of course, the 108 that you talk about all the time, the 108 moon widths from the moon to the Earth, and 108 sun widths from the sun to the Earth, 108 Earth widths are the width of the sun, and so forth and so on. So I think that is proof positive without any shadow of a doubt that this lottery chooses its winners. That's all I have for you, man.
Well, awesome work as always. Everybody, Bo, letter N, Arrow, great YouTube channel, doing a lot of gematria work. And, you know, I wish Derek was still making videos because he's done some great work on the lottery in 113. I've definitely covered the lottery in 113 for, I don't know, at least 4 years now. So, of course, on the 113th day of the year, we get this near record jackpot winner. And I actually forgot to do my work on this yesterday, so I'm glad you called in and reminded me. Appreciate it.
All right, have a good, man.
All right. Remember, 113 is the number of deception. You know, there was all sorts of financial news yesterday. The market set a new record on the 113th day of the year. You had the death of the H&R Block founder at the age of 96. No one's going to question that, but if you see my blog post, there's all sorts of suspicious things there. And then you got the big lottery winner. And again, 113, it's that number of deception. It's also the number of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. And you think about our dollar bills with all the Masonic symbolism on it. So that said, let's go out to the great caller in New York.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Doing well, man.
All right, this is Johnny Stash and D over here in New York. I know I've been around a while. Hope you're doing well.
I am, thank you. And I've heard you've been doing well, too. Congratulations.
Thank you, brother. Now, I'm going to go real quick since the time of the show. Okay, first off, you have this woman threatening to blow up a church. She went to the church with a handgun and a baby, but she did nothing. I think it was just a staged act. This is at Claremont on Easter Sunday, and she's waving a gun, saying she's going to blow up the church. The whole point is, real quick, she's obviously under arrest, and she's scheduled to appear in court for this felony on May 3rd, which is obviously straight. Now, then going back to what I've said last year when that Mission Impossible movie came out, which I think big movies, obviously we know they put big things in there. In the Mission Impossible movie, there was a fake scene where they faked attacks happening on holy sites to get information out of this guy. So my point is, here in the Times of Israel, there's a story. It says, with fictional Jerusalem bomb plot, latest Mission Impossible shoots to #1. And in that story, hold on real quick here. It talks about
It says, after 6 movies and 22 years, Tom Cruise, talking about the Mission Impossible series. After 6 movies in 22 years, 622, 226, however you want to talk about it. We've already talked about the significance so many times with 226 being in Gematria. So thank you, Tom Cruise. Also, they have Game of Thrones, which one I believe is a big psyop, showing this otherworldly element that's going to pierce the wall, which is really the veil of our reality. And these undead, these people that are going to attack us, which I think is going to get ready for a false flag attack, whether it's for the aliens or supernatural. And the point is, everyone's watching this show. It's the biggest show. They push the show, and so everyone has to unite in the 7 kingdoms to fight against the undead, or basically the past in a sense. So I think that they're getting everyone ready for that. And of course, that show received 47 Emmys.
Westeros equals 47. Westeros equals 47, and they started that countdown, Time Magazine, 47 days to season 8, which began April 14th, 14/4. Time has that Gematria 47 and 144. So yeah, 47 Emmys, funny.
Yep. I mean, it's just right there in the open if you have eyes to see it. Next, it was an earthquake apparently off of Long Island. This was a few weeks ago, and it said magnitude 3.0 earthquake off Long Island, felt by many, but I don't know if I felt anything. And of course, guess how many miles? They said exactly where, not 10 miles, not 12 miles, exactly 33 miles off the coast of Southampton. And was this apparently imaginary earthquake? So of course, 33 miles. And guess how deep it was? Of course, 4.5 for your 45 for Donald Trump. So thank you with that. Yeah, I mean, it just gets dumber and dumber. And of course, here's some natural gematria with that story. I screenshotted that story when that happened on my Facebook account. And guess what time I screenshotted that story? At 8:11 p.m. So I didn't realize that part. I was looking at it. I said, the stash, I said, holy, look, because it tells you what time you screenshot. Obviously, the clock on top of your phone.
Right.
So at 8:11, that story came up at 33. And that's pretty much it for me going across the board. So I hope you're well. I hope I brought some information for the guys. Keep your eyes open in movies and stories. And lots of times the codes is not what you think it is, and there's more information out there than just showing. But come on, why would you say 6 movies in 22 years? Who writes it like that? It's 622 or 226. And if you look at scratch-offs, look at the numbers. Lots of times 22, then 6, or 12 and 6, or backwards and forwards. 226 is in the scratch-offs. Look at the numbers that come up when you scratch across. I'm telling you, it's in almost every scratch-off I've ever played. It has some form of 226 in every scratch-off. Take care, brother.
Appreciate it.
Real quick, Zach, Johnny here. What do I got? Well, great short video on the 8/11 that Flushing hit there. I'm glad you did a video on that. And what was also interesting, the woman supposedly lived on the 8th floor in apartment J, like at 810. And I believe that is the first day of Tisha B'Av, if I'm correct. I don't know.
Right, you are.
So very, very interesting that she lived in apartment 8, apartment number J. What else do I have? I was talking to my buddy out there in Arizona, and we were talking about the hockey stuff. And what I realized, I used to tell him I used to play some hockey. I played a little bit for my high school team under an assumed name, blah, blah, blah. Scored a couple of goals in a few games that I played. But then I started to tell Big Al about this guy that was going to make it in the pros that was on the team. His name was Randy Alessi, Allesia. And he had some type of heart arrhythmia or problem, or strained heart muscle, and he died at 18. And I started to say, well, wait a minute. I graduated in 78. I think this kid was due to graduate in 79. I think that's the year that he died. And then before I even looked at anything, I was telling to my buddy in Zona, holy shit, that was in 1979 that I think the kid died. And I said, you know what? In 1979, the New York Rangers made the Stanley Cup Finals, won the first game, then was eliminated in 4 straight games because the Canadians ran off 4 straight wins.
And I looked, and sure than heck, he died on August 23rd, 1979, the same year the Rangers won the Cup.
Huh.
So was he ritually sacrificed? I'm going to try to find out his birth date. His brother was right down the block from me. And what else? And of course, the PGA is going to be in my back door. And let's go Tiger, because he's got the numbers for some of these victories coming up.
He sure does. Yeah, great call. Hey, about your tip on the 8/11 story that I made the video on. I don't know if you saw, but somebody left a comment that the rapper Bushwick Bill, from his birthday to the date of that story, was 134 days, like how Tisha B'Av equals 134, and so does 9th of Av. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Oh, I didn't catch that comment. Good comment there. Good find. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, just keep us on mute, brother.
All right.
Peace to peace.
All right. Good to hear from both of you. You guys have a good night. Keep it up. Hey, on the Game of Thrones thing, just for a little bit of fun here. I don't know a lot of about Game of Thrones. I've seen some episodes here and there. I've probably seen, I don't know, 15% of the show. But somebody asked me to look at the odds for gambling, because you can bet on who's going to be on the Iron Throne. And I guess the book doesn't reveal it, which seems strange to me. But the show ends May 19th. That's the 139th day of the year. And there's only one character's name who sums to 139. And it's the boy who's blind, who goes by the name Three-Eyed Raven. It's not Three-Eyed Raven that sums to 139, but hey, if you've got the Gematria calculator, check out the Gematria on Three-Eyed Raven. You might see a 74 and a 223. But what else is interesting is Westeros has the Gematria of 34 and 47. That's the kingdom. 139 is the 34th prime. So could it be? I noticed that the Vegas odds have Jon Snow as the favorite to be the king. And then the second person is the blind boy. Well, he's the one with the 139 connection. So I don't know. For you gamblers, might just be a little tip, but don't get too carried away. So we'll see what happens. Let's go out to Cleveland. And actually, you know what? Before I go on, just realize that Gematria is totally relevant to Game of Thrones. Before season 7, you had the death of the 7-foot giant from the show, which was a ritual in numbers. We had a video on it on one of the older channels that was deleted. But think about that. The 7-foot giant from the show drops dead right before the start of season 7. It's sick what goes on. All right, that said, let's go out to Cleveland, Ohio.
Hey, Zach, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Hey, I wanted to touch on a couple of things real quick. When I got into work last night, the TV was on. As soon as I walk in the door, the TV is on. It's the Philadelphia 76ers against the Brooklyn Nets. And the score was 91 Brooklyn Nets to 118 for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I guess the clock was stopped. The clock was stopped at 1 minute and 50 seconds. And I guess there was some commotion. A couple of players got ejected.
Huh.
So I just noticed that was the score. You know, it was 91 to 118, and there was 1 minute and 50 seconds left on the clock. It just so happens right now at this moment, the Mega Millions jackpot is $150 million. I don't think that's no accident. But I want to talk about the gematria of the word kill, murder, and killing, and how it relates to dates on the 13-moon calendar. Real quick, in the 4-base ciphers, the word kill has a gematria of 17. If you go to the first month and the 7th day on the 13-moon calendar, if you go to 1/7, that's August 1st. A day to rewrite 8/1, August 1st is the 213th day of the year. So it's kind of like a double death number. You know, the death kill equals 17. 1/7 is August 1st. That's 213. That's another code for death.
Right.
If you go to kill also starts the 28th.
So if you go to the second month in the 8th day on the 13 moon calendar, that's August 30th. The day we write 8/30. You know, if you in numerology you drop the 0, that's an 83. You know, so there's another like
murder. Murder equals 83. The song "Murder by Numbers" came out in 83. Yeah, I'm following you. Very interesting.
Going down the line though, Q also subs to 44. Okay, so if you go to the 4th month in the 4th day.
Hey, hold it right there. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back with the riddle with the 4th month and 4th day. Just the commercial's about to kick in, so we'll save it for after the break. We're halfway through this. Very interesting. Be right back, everybody. Sit tight. All right, we're back. We're on the commercial break. You know, I imagine Fermenti's really busy because this is the crop season. He's a farmer, so I imagine he's hard at work right now. I haven't heard from him for a minute, but I've just been thinking about that too. I imagine he's doing his thing. So it's the time of year the farmers are busy. The guy with the 13 moon calendar, I still gotta incorporate that more in my work. Again, thank you to everyone who sent a super chat tonight. Very generous. I really appreciate it. I'm doing well. Thanks, chat. The Meek Mill Nipsey Hussle connection. Well, what was weird is Meek Mill got Meek Mill Day in his honor in Atlanta, the day the battle rapper from Philadelphia died. And Meek Mill's from Philadelphia, and he's been part of the Super Bowl riddles with the Eagles and the Patriots. Patriots just won the Super Bowl down in Atlanta. And then Nipsey Hussle died on the anniversary of the film ATL, which Lauren London starred in, and his significant other. 193 is the 44th prime. See my work on the Secretary of Defense and what went down with Mad Dog Mattis. There's a whole lot of 193 and 44 there. Secretary of Defense equals 193. It's the 44th prime. Military 44. Mad Dog 44. Mattis 44. His whole resignation process had a lot to do with those numbers. 193, 44. Gary, too generous in the chat with the double donation. Thank you, Gary. The reason I remember so many things is just because I work with it every day. So it's just like anybody could do. I guarantee you, any of you could do what I do if you just sat here all day, every day like I do and just did this all day. If you've just been doing this all day, every day for 5 years, pretty much like I have, you'd be doing just what I was doing. It's just I'm crazy enough to do it. So, I mean, I've just put in a lot of time the last 5 years. And I still forget stuff all the time. I mean, things that I haven't touched. Sometimes they'll ask if I've done something. I can't remember. I type in my blog post. I was like, oh, guess I did do a blog post on that. Totally forgot about it. But there's certain things I just bring up all the time. So it's just stuck right there in my head. Yeah. Candy, toxic. You ever notice the gematria of pop and candy? They both sum to 47. I find that so interesting. Why is that number on so many bad things? Pop and candy. All right, we're coming back from the commercial. All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. We're at the midway point. We've got an hour and a half left. We're taking your calls for the rest of the show. Got our 13 moon expert from Cleveland. He's showing us this riddle with the word kill and how the Gregorian calendar and the 13 moon calendar line up in terms of fateful dates. Dates where we see these suspicious deaths. So let me go back out to the caller. He was halfway through his presentation.
Zach, can you hear me?
I hear you.
All right, Kill also has the Gematria of 44. So if you go to the fourth month and the fourth day on the 13 moon calendar, that day is October 21st, a day that rewrites 10/21. Now, I want like yourself and the audience to look at that day as a form of time. 10/21, the 1021st minute of the day is 5:01 p.m. You know, you turn that number around, that's the 105. That's the 105 we've been talking about tonight. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. Kill also has the Gematria of 64. So if you go to the 6th month and the 4th day on the 13 moon calendar, that day is December 16th. Day that rewrites 12/16. Now that is the 350th day of the year on the Gregorian calendar. It leaves 15 days left in the year. Okay, but the 15th day of the year is January the 15th, the day that rewrites that can be written 1/15. And the word killing also has the Gematria of 115. Also thought it kind of interesting that you mentioned the sacrificial day of March 31st. That is the 30th day of the year. So if you find that day on the 13th moon calendar, it falls on the 9th month and the 25th day. March 31st falls on the 9th month and the 25th day. As of the 9th month and the 25th day, there are 4 months and 3 days remaining. And the word killing also has the Gematria of 43. So I think if you look at it, it was interesting how the Gematria of the words, if you insert them on the 13 moon calendar, how I think it just lines up with certain days. I just find it kind of interesting how the words itself just lines up with certain days. But that's pretty much all I have for tonight.
All right, I appreciate it. Very interesting. Always appreciate those observations. You have a good night, friend.
All right, thanks.
All right, take care. Yeah, I really got to adopt that 13 moon calendar into my work. I think it's good to just look at all the calendar systems. There's always a bunch of strange synchronicities between all of them. So let's go out to Delaware.
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
Hey, man.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the women's coach from North Carolina, that recently stepped down due to racial remarks. Her name was Sylvia Hatchell. I'm just going to go over the numbers and some of the emphasized comments in some of the articles that I saw. So she was the head coach of the women's Tar Heels team, and she stepped down after 33 years due to racially offensive remarks or racially insensitive remarks. Her name's Sylvia Hatchell, has Gematria of 58, like Freemasonry. Her last name Hatchell has Gematria of 33, like race war. Her first name has Gematria of 88, like Tar Heels. And her last name also has a Gematria of 25, like the word racist. Racist equals 25. Tar Heel to singular equals 33, like her last name 33. Women's basketball has a Gematria of 96, like Freemason. Racist remarks equals 97. going back to the word races, because 97 is the 25th prime number, race is 25. She's from Gastonia, North Carolina. When you write out Gastonia, NC equals 69, like Negro, like slave, like blues. And the remarks she made was towards the black players on the team. Intensive comments equals 85, basketball 85. Intensive comments also equals 113, like mainstream, like bullshit, like dishonest. Racially offensive equals 97, the 25th prime number, going back to the word racist. Racially offensive comments equals 113 and 139. Freemasonry 139. Racial comments equals 88, going back to Tar Heels 88. And one of her huge mentors was Pat Summitt. Pat Summitt, her full name, Patrick Suzanne Summitt, 139, like Freemasonry. Pat Summitt died of Alzheimer's disease, 79, like the word murder. When you write out Alzheimer's equals 47. You still there?
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm just taking it all in.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's all I had for that. And yeah, I just want to thank you for all you've been doing. You know, I've been listening to you for so long, and I just really I really appreciate what you're doing, because it's really a beautiful thing how you have a lot of followers, and you know, you get people to want to come together and, you know, join together, you know, like to be like a community and a network. And I really do appreciate what you've been doing. And like one of my last classes in sociology, you know, we were talking about the presidents, and like one of the students was talking about, yeah, how come the first 14 presidents were Freemasons, and the Freemasons this and the Freemasons that. And this kid is 14 years old, and at the college I go to have like a early college for like, I guess for like high school students or middle school students. So it's kind of cool, you know, to see like young kids, you know, asking questions like that, you know, like why the presidents were Freemasons and things of that nature. And now that the Maple Leafs and some of these Canadian teams are out of the NHL playoffs, like who do you see going to the finals, the Stanley Cup final?
Well, I'm gonna have to think more about that. Something that really stood out to me last night was that the Boston Bruins got their 53rd win of the season, like how the Boston Patriots or New England Patriots just won Super Bowl 53. And the big story out of that game was that Julian Edelman chugged a beer to fire up the crowd and the team, who was the MVP of Super Bowl 53. Oh, wow. And I did point out before the playoffs began that if Boston won the Stanley Cup, they would get to 322 playoff wins, that infamous 322 number, which connects to Walter Camp, who helped establish American football. I'm not sure that the Boston Bruins are going to do it, but I mean, it has been a year of Boston in sports. You know, the Super Bowl, the World Series. So could it continue? Could it be another Boston ritual this year? I have to look at it some more. I am really amazed the way they continue to punk Canada, who has not won the Stanley Cup since '93. By the way, Stanley equals 93. Right. But so I got to go back to the drawing board with the Canadian teams being out. Canada is definitely not my bread and butter. Or NHL is definitely not my bread and butter. And I just keep thinking, man, they got to let a Canadian team be in there, but man, they just don't. So the most interesting thing to me right now is just the way things could be lining up for Boston again. Boston's the team that remains in the playoffs with all the top seeds knocked out that had the most points in the season. So in a way, they might be a favorite, but I'm gonna have to take a few more looks. So
yeah, I feel you. And one more question: how do you feel about the NBA Finals? I was looking at a stat about how Kawhi Leonard is undefeated against Joel Embiid or something like that.
Well, I'm gonna have to look at that information too. So, you know, nothing's changed on the finals. It's the 73rd season, and there's one player born on the 73rd day of the year whose whole career is all about 73. So, I think you know who that is.
Yeah, Curry.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Curry.
Yeah. All right, ma'am.
Well, that's all I have. Yeah, since I know, that's all I got. Since I know there's a lot of people on hold.
All right, I appreciate it. Keep up the good work. You have a good night.
You too, man. Right. Thank you.
Take care. He's got a blog as well where he does all of his decodes that he reads on air. The Truth at Your Door. And you can find the link to his blog on my blog on that right side of the screen. Let's go out to Roselle, Illinois.
Hey, Zach. This is Illinois.
What's that?
This is Illinois. You said Roselle.
Yeah, that's what it says, Roselle, Illinois on my screen. Maybe it's wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna go ahead and finish up the cipher I was doing last week with Russell Pine, the pine tree.
Okay.
Who we talked about. Well, it's a little interesting about him. I'll say that he was in the middle of a conspiracy scheme, taking advantage of senior citizens, robbing them of their monetary base. That's basically what he was up to. And the kicker to all of it is that he knows a lot of inside information about religion, politics, UFOlogy, like we talked before, and maritime admiralty law. And I learned a lot about the information from the videos that he put out. So I decided to take it a few steps further and attach it to other topics relevant to our everyday lives. The corruption we face when we're trying to advance ourselves in life, and especially free energy, that might be a reality as, of course, we go along into the future that's looking pretty tainted. That's why I decided to do Ideas of the Great Tatari, because people don't realize this is the serious option to explore. After all, they really want to take inventions such as radio away from us and put us on wired connections, which can better be controlled, because it's all about censorship. They could tax radio, they would, but they can't control it. And that's a good thing, because we need something to, keep our voice in the air and let people, know what's going on. Because if not, we don't have anything if we can't communicate with each other.
Right.
Basically, I looked up Sammy Davis Jr. Now, Sammy Davis Jr. and Anton Levy, they were in this one photo with Russell Pine. And when I was looking up Sammy, of course, he's a great actor. I looked at a few things, and he started acting his career in 1933. And some of those ciphers that I was reading through, I don't see much that matches up. I don't see actually anything that matches with 33, but it gets more interesting because this Anton Levy character, I remember this guy when I was a kid. He was a musician, and he's an occultist, and he's also an author, but he's a Satanist.
Anton LaVey.
Really,
Anton LaVey, right? LaVey.
LaVey, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And he was in the picture with Russell Pine. So that was really blowing my mind. I was like, okay. And he was born 1930, because it's the 30, 33. That's interesting. Then let me see what else.
Just for the record,
with this other guy.
Just for the record, for your database, 33. Hollywood equals 33. So does actor. So that's a good year to become an actor. 33.
Yes, I definitely caught on to that right away.
Okay.
And this brings me to this other guy, this younger guy, Jamil Rawls. Now, Jamil Rawls basically was hanging out with Jordan Maxwell, and I ran across that video after I was looking up a few things, and he was talking about how Jordan defrauded him. I guess it was an interview he was doing with Jordan, and I think when they was talking, they went to a few restaurants. This isn't from the story. That was different with the other character that I was telling you about. But he said that Jordan was showing him a lot of things, his wallet and information that he was, giving out to him, and showing him who he was affiliated with. And I think he was affiliated with some of the government agencies. I don't know if it was CIA. I'm not really sure. But most of them could be, they could be tied too also into organizations like the Saturn Brotherhood or any other like a Illuminous type organization. And something weird about Jamil, his videos that he was giving when he was stating his argument looked like he was being scripted to a degree. It just looked odd. Because one video was kind of like all over the place, his cousin, saying all types. It's like a kind of ghetto thing going on with that, with the lingo. And then he does another video where he shaves his head and he's talking semi-professional. So I think someone's scripting him. That's my heavy belief on that one. You know, like someone's pulling the strings with him. I'm not sure. But his name was Jamil Raw. And I did some ciphering a little bit. I couldn't get much into it because I've been working today and I'm just tired.
I get it, man.
But I did look up Russell Pine, and when I looked up him again, I compared him with Anton Levy, Sammy Davis Jr., and Satanism, the Vatican, and Jamil Ross. So Jamil Ross, he fell under, let me think. He came in, I'm trying to see which one did I see that he matched him with. That was the Vatican. He, under English Ordinal, Jamil Ross was at 119, and the Vatican was, reverse Ordinal was 119. That's what I'm saying about the scripted part. So I don't know, not the Vatican, of course, but if it was just someone aligned to that, if Russell Pine is aligned to this, who knows? Maybe someone could be scripted Jamil Ross, you know, behind closed doors, or to put on a show, maybe to give like press to Russell Pine, because he did say when Russell Pine was showing him all the stuff in his wallet, he basically was just, you know, like just show and tell, because that's what they do. They have to show you what they're going to do before they manipulate you.
Sure,
right. A lot of people don't realize that, and that's what I started thinking about with damn, that's the case. Excuse my language. This whole thing with Sammy Davis Jr. and Anton Levy. So the thing is, they all have to be, well, definitely, I would say, Anton Levy, Freemasons. They have to be, definitely. Now, what organization Levy was under I don't know if it's the Saturn Brotherhood, I don't know which, because there's so many of them. You know, that's definitely what it is. And then two, when Russell Pine had that chain, and Pine said he saw him at a book signing where this is Cosmo, Cosmo had a chain. The guy that was actually, I'll tell you that with the hippie, that's his name. And his chain fell out, and it was a 33 Mason chain with a double hidden eagle, the triangle, and the two rubies on top of the eagle's head. But the thing is, what's strikingly similar in that photo, the photo I saw with Pine and Davis and Levy, was that he had a chain that looked something like that around his neck at an earlier time. He's a lot younger.
So just so people know, we should have said this earlier. Just so people know, Russell Pine is Jordan Maxwell. Most people know the name Jordan Maxwell, but not Russell Pine. But Russell Pine is the real name of Jordan Maxwell. Okay, just want to make sure that's clear.
Exactly. I didn't even want to blast it out like that, but yeah, that's who he is. You're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. I wasn't trying to like really just blast him out like that, but you're right. It is Jordan Maxwell. And I was going to tell you this. The end of that cipher, actually, I'll tell you the Council 33 part, but I was going to tell you before we got cut off was, when the time ran out, the informant occasionally mentions the synodices of the Vatican, which is at 40 under English Ordinal, sorry about that, which pairs perfectly with the informant's birth year, 1940, and pairs with the Council, which is at 40 under reverse full reduction. And the 9/11 2001 incident also falls under the year 1940, as was already talked about 20 years prior before 2001: A Space Odyssey, the film by Stanley Kubrick. That's what I really want you to hear. So I have to really look at that one to see what that is all about.
Well, very interesting information. I appreciate the research you're doing and sharing it with us. Be sure to call us back. I just got to keep it moving. Well, okay, one last thing. There's just a million people on hold.
Zach, one more thing. What is the name of your editor? Because my book is almost done. Do you know the editors that I could probably, link up with?
Well, the person who helped me, I can ask her if she's interested. So I'll talk to her. So
my name is Jay Irons, man.
Okay, I saved your phone number. I took a screen capture because I can see your number. So I'll talk to her and see if she's interested. So
Cool, man. Cool.
All right.
Out of here.
All right. You have a good night. Keep it up.
Take it easy. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. All right. I got to apologize to this person. I was looking for them. I'm sorry. I thought you didn't call in, but I see it. How are you? Friend, Philadelphia? Maybe it's on the delay.
Hello?
Oh, there we go. I was looking for you earlier. I was going to let you cut in line. I did not see your name, but there it is. So I did let you cut a little bit, but you called in earlier and said you had something important to share, so glad you're here.
Thanks very much. Well, what I wanted to talk about today was the connections between what happened at Christ Church and Philadelphia. That shooting happened on the Ides of March, and in Philadelphia it was declared Meek Mill weekend. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Beatitudes. It's a part of, it's like in Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew, and it's like where Jesus is like talking to people on the mount, and he says that the meek shall inherit the earth. So I thought that was a pretty interesting, I don't know, parallel or whatever, that the meek, whose name equals 74, the word meek equals 74, got a weekend named after him. And in the city of Philadelphia, which has this favorable prophecy from Revelation 3:7. Like I said, meek equals 74. Ides of March happens over the 74th day of the year. Ides of March equals 106 and 61, just like Philadelphia equals, or 101 and 61, just like Philadelphia equals 101 and 61, and the word church equals 101 and 61. I checked to see just randomly that from August 11th, the day that we're looking at, until October 27th, that's the day that Philadelphia was established. It's 77 days. 77 reminds me of the word Christ, Christ Church and all that. It's also 2 months and 16 days. 6 cubed, or 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Meek Mill's real name is Robert Williams, and Robert Williams equals 666 in Satanic Gematria.
Huh.
So thought that was interesting. Sermon on the Mount, which is like what they call part of, I guess, the Gospel of Matthew, equals 76, which is just a super important number in Philadelphia. I believe the 76ers played the Nets the other night, who were from Brooklyn, which had that. I think it was. Sorry.
Here, no, I know what you're gonna say. Look, I'll tell you how crazy. I'll tell you how crazy the Philadelphia-Brooklyn riddle was. So Philadelphia got their first. Philadelphia opening their first win of these playoffs against Brooklyn was their 223rd playoff win. And Philadelphia equals 223, like the Synagogue of Satan. Brooklyn, New York's also 223. Right. Yesterday, when they closed them out, was the 190th day of the NBA season. If you just write Synagogue of Satan, it's 190 because thus 33. So 223 minus 33 is 190. So yesterday was the 190th day of the season. And yesterday, Philadelphia got their 66th win at home and stayed at 39 losses at home against Brooklyn, which is funny because Revelation, which names Philadelphia as the 66th book of the Bible, based on the 39 books of the Old Testament, and yesterday had 66 and 39 date numerology. In sports picks yesterday, I said Philadelphia to beat Brooklyn's the safest pick of the day. So yeah, it was a crazy biblical riddle. Yep.
Yeah. So just moving on. Beatitudes equals 106 and 65. The word Philadelphia equals 65. The word prophecy equals 106. Philadelphia, the city of prophecy. Let's see, Meek Mill Day equals 61, and 61 was Philadelphia, and 110 was the word prophecy.
Hey, for your prophecy thing real quick in sports, Philadelphia Phillies equals 106, and on the 106th day of the year, they got a win and became 10-6. Sorry, just got to chime these in.
Yeah, no, like it just fits so perfectly. And so Meek Mill actually, he got a day in Atlanta as well, and that was March 25th. That phrase, March 25th equals 77 in Jewish reduction. But I heard you speaking, I think in a different video, obviously a different video earlier, about how 325 is important to Easter. And like there's only because of the Council of Nicaea and how originally Easter was celebrated on, I believe, the 25th of March, a day that can be written 325. And like all these 37 days after weekend and the shooting in Christ Church, there was the attack on the churches in Sri Lanka on Easter. And 37 again relating to Revelation 3:7.
Oh, hold on, caller. The music's coming in. Sit tight. We'll be right back, everybody. We're back, Truth Seeker. Thank you for the super chat. I see Richard Quinn out there. Richard Quinn, the moderator, the man who runs the page on Facebook, Daily Dose of Gematria. When I get my daily podcast going again, which I will as soon as I'm done with my book, we're going to start doing a thing where if you pick up a box of the Gematria business cards through Rich to pass out and help people get informed with the work, I'm going to do a 20 or 30-minute segment. Like you just get to come on and be part of a video or a podcast and do your thing, kind of like a caller on the radio show. So for every box we sell, you guys are going to have to make me work harder and harder. But trying to get some more people enthused about this work and willing to go out and be, messengers of the work. Get the knowledge out there. Rich is going around sticking Gematria business cards in the, the glass and gas stations and just anywhere he can put it. So he wants some other people out pounding the pavement doing the same type of thing. Well, that means Carolina's going to cover. The advice for the hockey game today was if you're going to bet hockey, take Carolina to cover because all the money was on Vegas to cover. That's another betting strategy. If you just look at where all the money is, I mean, normally Vegas isn't going to let the other team cover. That's a real easy way if you don't know Gematria. Just go on the sites where they track all that and be like, oh, 96% of the public bet on Washington to cover. Well, how am I going to bet today? Let me see how this one works. So Avengers Endgame. It contains a scene where the graves of all people who died from the movie, half of all people on Earth, are directly in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. Really? Avengers Endgame. I got to look up when that came out. I haven't heard of it, but that sounds like a comic book movie. I'm not real good with my comic books. I know who the Punisher is. Hold on. Avengers Endgame. Oh, wow. That came out. That just came out. Wait a minute, that's not even out yet. It comes out in 2 days. Okay, so new movie coming out. I'll do some research on that too. Every week I do the radio show, my list of things to decode grows. I need more hands, more brains, more eyes to get through the task of things that I'm supposed to be finished with. Bruco with the super chat says, much love, friends. 47 in Hebrew. And I think he means these two words, mighty, valiant. And again, that's a reminder that there's all these numbers are dualistic. So there's no number that's entirely bad. There's no number that's entirely good. coming back from the break here. All right, we're back. True Seeker, it's the final hour. The good news is if you're on hold, I'm going to be able to get to your call. I'm looking at how many people are on. I know I can get through this list. Let's go back out to Philadelphia, who had some brilliant observations about Meek Mill and some other things taking place in the world right now. All right, caller.
Hey, thanks a lot. I'll try and wrap this up as quick as I can. So just to connect the weekend to what happened in New Zealand, let's see, the word Christchurch, New Zealand equals 351, which is the 26th prime. We know from earlier the word God equals 26, and all the connections to 26. And the guy went on a shooting spree from the Al-Noor Mosque, which is located at 101 Dean Avenue in Riccarton. That word Riccarton equals 101 and 61, just like Philadelphia and church. Things I mentioned before, to the Linwood Islamic Center, which is located at 223A Linwood Avenue. Philadelphia equals 223. Linwood Islamic Center equals 223, also 119. Kind of like a 911 code, and the postal code there, 8011, is, barely just in your face. So Friday prayer equals 74, just like the weekend, and how it's the 74th day of the year. And to connect it to the bombings that happened in Sri Lanka on Easter Sunday / the Queen's birthday / Prince's death day, while I was researching, I saw that 3 days later they had found bombs in the church, which was just like I saw that and I got really upset because I know it's a sick joke about a resurrection and it's a death in the church. So that really upset me. Let's see. So it was 40 days later where they found the bomb 3 days after the attack, and it was in a place called Colombo. So we got the 40-day thing associated with a place called Colombo. Now Noah knew that the earth was safe or whatever after 40 days and 40 nights when he saw the dove. Also, when doves cry, like you had mentioned earlier, how that's connected to Prince's death. And let's see, I think that's it. So, also Sri Lanka equals 131, and the word God equals 131 in satanic gematria. Also, the meek shall inherit the earth equals 131 in Jewish reduction.
Very interesting. And I got to say, it's great to hear you calling in. You're one of our greatest all-time callers, and you've been resting up for about a good year. So it's really nice to hear your voice on the radio again.
Hey, thanks a lot. I'm doing all I can. I just don't have internet. I got a lot of bills, so I figure I can live without it.
I get it.
I really did enjoy the research that I got to do today, so maybe I'll get heavier into it.
All right. I look forward to it.
Have a great show.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You have a good night.
You too.
All right. Let's go out to Albany, New York.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, caller.
Hey, what's up, man? Just a couple of quick things. Earlier on the show tonight, you were talking about at the top of the hour. You were talking about Roger Moore, and one of your videos that you came out with a little earlier this week. I forget which one it was. Maybe last weekend you put it out. There was a comment on there by one of our faithful listeners about Gematria News, and this comment was talking about compared Roger Moore as James Bond in the movie The Man with the Golden Gun, and the name of the villain in that movie was Francisco Scaramanga.
Right.
And it was just a maybe you can kind of correlate that. I thought it was kind of interesting because also Roger Moore came out with another Bond movie called View to Kill, and it was about the villain blowing up Silicon Valley, or flooding Silicon Valley in San Francisco.
Huh.
So that all kind of correlates, and I wondered if you can maybe just expound on that for a second. You know, some Gematria. I thought it was kind of interesting. You know, Francisco, and then the man with the golden gun. Little correlation there. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Okay, well, it's going to take me a while to look at those things. Hold on. The Man with the Golden Gun came out in the year 74. Okay, that's standing out right away. 74. Right. I see it. It looked like it was one of the Christmas movies. It came out December 20th, 74. It's interesting that movie released on a date with 125 numerology, and it's 125 minutes long. Numerology equals 125.
125, yeah.
And yeah, I'd have to think more about that.
All right. No pressure. No pressure on it. I just wanted to, always hear your input. Just one more thing. The first three Die Hard movies, Die Hard 1, Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, is just plumb full of like 9/11 subliminals in those movies. Like
of
the
course.
First line in the first Die Hard movie.
That's what
Bruce.
When I woke up September 11th, the way I woke up September 11th was my new roommate. We'd only been roommates for 2 weeks. On top of me in my bed, shaking me, telling me I needed to get up. And he had the TV on, and his dad had just called him. And I was just like, what's wrong with my roommate? What is this? And I looked at the TV, and I was like, is it Die Hard? He's like, no, that's the news. I was like, oh. Because that was my first thought. That's exactly what came out of my mouth. Is it Die Hard? So,
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you go through the first three. It's like the Die Hard with a Vengeance is like pretty much like a little 9/11 recreation. I mean, fictitiously, but it's very spooky. The parallels between that. But anyway, just wanted to get those out to you. But appreciate your input, and the book is fantastic. So keep up the great work, man.
All right, I appreciate it. I'll look more into those movies, look for a blog post, maybe even a video. You just never know. I do see those movies came out 11 years apart, which is also interesting, but really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, have a good night.
I'll talk to you later. You too.
11 years apart, that master number. Let's go out to Richmond, California.
Hey, how's it going, Zach, man? I'll just be real quick. I'm just going to point out the Notre Dame Cathedral and the parallels between that and San Francisco. San Francisco is a sister city of
Paris.
And also they have a replica of there's a cathedral called the Grace Cathedral in San Francisco, and it's almost an exact replica of the Notre Dame Cathedral, and it's directly across the street from the Masonic Center in San Francisco Masonic Center on Taylor Street in California, which is actually right up the street from the Bohemian Club. It's also the 113th year anniversary of the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco.
Right. Yeah, great observations. I'm going to have to check that out. Very interesting. Appreciate that.
Yep, that's good. Yeah, but have a good show, man.
All right, appreciate it. You have a good night. Take care. All right. Gotta look that up. All right, let's go out to Van Nuys, California.
Hello?
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 Yeah, you're on.
Hey.
Hey.
Am I on?
You're on.
Hi, Zach.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. So my friend came back from New York today, and his flight lands at 3:22 in the afternoon.
Huh. Amazing.
Yeah. And then earlier this afternoon, I tried to watch one of your videos on YouTube. It was the one about the Kura, I forget her name, but it was age restricted.
I saw that.
Were you aware of that?
I saw they did that to the video. Yeah. Yeah.
So are they like trying to, is it like a soft censor? Are they trying to censor now with age restriction guidelines?
They do that sometimes. If you go through my videos, I mean, there's probably 10 of them that they've done that to so far. So yeah, I think I probably went a little bit too much on the Brooklyn thing, but yeah, it is a soft censor. Yep.
Okay, interesting. I think what my point was today was, I believe in 1908, there was a dam out here in Los Angeles called San Francisquito.
Huh.
And I believe it burst in 1908.
Huh.
And that's kind of a lineup to your T. Shabab Golden Gate lining up, because San Francisquito is just basically St. Francis, but, you know, with a Quito on the end.
Right.
So I don't remember the year exactly, but for some reason I'm thinking it was 1908, which is very similar to August 2019.
Sure. It's 111 years ago too. 111, just kind of like how we had that attack just this weekend on the 111th day of the year. 111.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So that was all. My only point today was that, and there's another YouTube person called the Grox.
Yep.
One.
Yeah.
Have you heard of him?
I'm familiar with this channel.
And
yeah.
he just. Okay. So I just kind of think that sometimes what he says and what you guys are saying have similar themes. Like it's such an echo and a reflection of you got like all these different things coming together. So I just wanted to put that name out there so maybe people could look him up and see if they're seeing similar things too.
For people who don't know, the channel is The Groxt. GROXT. Yeah.
Yeah, number one. Yeah, and it's just, he kind of does similar work, but like through maps and symbology, and he overlays maps onto old drawings, and I don't know, I think there's some validity to what he's saying as well. So it was good to talk to you again.
All right, appreciate the call. Thank you so much for the information.
Okay, take care. Be safe.
All right, you too. You have a good night.
You too.
Her saying that her friend touched down at 322. That reminds me how when they sent George Herbert Walker Bush's body back to D.C. for the ceremony, they reported that his plane touched down at 322. They just had to put that in the news. Let's go out to Minnesota.
All right, brother. This is the timekeeper, the time lord, the star face. Some things I'll go through quickly. So one thing they showed about Dame Lillard's shot is he shot 67% from 30 feet or beyond. And that only happens with basketball manipulation. Only happens. But my big point tonight is one thing they've been showing a lot of is the slave Bible. You know, because what they did is they took a lot of like the Exodus and a lot of rebellion stuff out of the Bible. And what it equals to is slave Bible 64, impeach Trump 64, black person 64, the president 64, manipulation 64, segregation 64. And so that's a big narrative. And anytime you see a narrative like that, they're trying to set something up. So I just kind of wanted to mention that. So that's all I really had. You know, thanks a lot for showing the work. I appreciate it as always. And, you know, I just wanted to add those little things.
Hey, plug your YouTube channel real quick.
I'm under Timekeeper Osceola 1.
Timekeeper
I do a lot of Osceola 1, so I do a lot of spiritual work as well. So anybody interested, you know, I can help you break the veil. So thank you as always, brother. And this summer will be 4 years on the station, right?
I think that's right. Time's flying. I'd have to go back and check for sure. So, yeah, time goes.
Yeah. I think it was four summers ago I started calling in. So right on the channel, brother.
All right.
Keep up the good work.
Appreciate it, man. You have a good night. All right. Take care.
Okay, you too.
I'm not sure if it was 4 or 3. I'd have to look. Maybe we can figure out by counting episodes. Let's go out to Winter Haven, Florida. Caller.
Yeah, bro, it's been a long time. Blogging all the videos and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That Hillsborough disaster that the guy was talking about.
Right.
Forgive me if he already mentioned this, but I'm just writing this stuff down. This wasn't what I called about, but suffocate sums to 96, 33, and 147. They call it like a human crushing.
Right.
That was kind of. One of the things I called about was I've been kind of spamming the comments a little bit about. I know you know about this. I know everybody kind of knows about this a little bit, but I think we need to be looking at consonants a lot more. Just the consonant value of things. You just see so much additional. This is just stuff that I wrote down while I was listening. I'm just going to do the consonants now. Temple, TMPL, 47. Jesus, 33. Consonant is 33. Color, like race, those are both 33. Again, these are just the consonants. Now, chemtrail, the whole word is 44, but chemtrail, just the consonant, is 74. You were talking about NHL earlier, not being your cup of tea. NHL is 47, you know that.
Right.
But hockey, the content of hockey are 47. Time is 47, you know that, but the consonants of time are 33, like trademark. Consonants of professional sports are 74. Secretary of Defense, you were talking about that, that's 47. You got on the Nipsey Hussle thing. I mentioned this is how I got back on the topic a while ago. Nipsey Hussle, I mentioned on the call a couple weeks ago. Nipsey Hussle is 33, but Nipsey by itself is 74. And then when you look at that Lauren London person, Lauren and London are both 44. And then this Meek Mill character, Meek Mill, like MKMLL, that's 74. What else I got here? America, MRC, that's 47. Donald, DNLD, 74. Terror, 74. Sri Lanka, that's SRLNK, 74. Suicide bombing, 44. Jeff Bezos' last name, Bezos, BZS, 47. That's pretty much all. I just wanted to make sure everybody look out for those consonants. You can hack the PHP of these, like Gematria if you save it. It's really easy to add ciphers if you want. But that Derek guy should probably check out. I know people don't want to have more ciphers. It's a pain in the ass trying to get people to pay attention when there's too many numbers. But there's a lot with these consonants because the ancient Egyptians didn't have vowels.
Right. Yeah.
So
no.
Write them down.
I think you're definitely onto something. And I was going to say, did you look at words with just vowels to see if there was anything interesting?
Well, here's no, I didn't. But there was an old Windows program that used to split it up automatically, and I used to see them on this guy's videos. He's been pretty much kicked off YouTube, or he doesn't make videos anymore. He went by Dragon's Paw. There's a blog spot, and I don't know if it's still around, but his YouTube channel was called Uno Raza, like one race, Uno Raza 2, and he does a lot of videos about like Kabbalah in cartoons and TV and stuff like that. But he was out there a while back. That's who kind of cued me into the consonant values. Whether there's a program out there that does it now, I don't know. What I really called about though, that was what I really called about. But then you guys started talking about Prince. I just really quick want to say, I went to in like 2004. I got the ticket stub right here. I went and dug it out. June 25th, 2004. I was at the Prince show for his musicology tour at the Allstate Arena in Chicago. And it was a ticket that was purchased for me by my late friend, and we went after he died. My friend and I went after he died. He bought us tickets. We were on the floor. We were right down there. We were gonna go 2 shows in a row, but John Blackwell, the drummer for Prince, his niece died, and the show got canceled, and so we ended up not going.
Well, you know what that
I really
is?
quick looked at that.
That's the anniversary that Purple Rain came out in 1984. Purple Rain came out on that day, June 25th. That's George Orwell's birthday, too.
Shit.
Yeah, no, it is. And that's also, that's the day Michael Jackson died, George Orwell's birthday. And then Blackwell went on to die himself by the numbers on July 4th. But
oh, no, I didn't even realize he was dead.
He died 2 summers ago on July 4th. Yeah, I had a video on it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, but then when I looked at the numbers for that, his niece's name was Gia Blackwell. Well, Gia Blackwell and John Blackwell both summed 223. And I think there was some. I kind of lost my place here on what I wrote down. I'm not going to try to find it. One of the other content things was ritual. I believe ritual killings. I believe there's some good shit with ritual killing. And that was pretty much all I had. Just the content also. Well, the last thing I called about that J.D. McCrary kid for the Lion King thing, and I forgot to tell you. One of the things when you look him up, a car ran into his house, into this bedroom, just like you, man.
Crazy.
So yeah, check that out, man. J.D. McCrary, a car crashed into his bedroom, and that's was the beginning of his fame, pretty much.
Well, I appreciate the call. Very interesting. I'll look that up. All right. Thanks, caller. Speaking of cars crashing into houses, last week we had a caller. She called in and she talked about transgender, and she made a lot of observations. For those of you who listened last week, you probably remember the call. She called me up the next day. She couldn't believe what happened in her own life. She had a transgender married couple crash through her fence and rest their car up right against her house. So they didn't do much damage to her house, but they tore up her yard and her garden and went through her fence. And that's very similar to what happened to me too. And that happened the exact day after she called this radio program and was talking about transgender. So how strange is that? Let's go out to Vermont. Vermont, you're on.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, what's up, man?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Great calls tonight. You see the story about John Singleton got hospitalized?
I didn't see that one yet.
Yeah, he's hospitalized on a day with 63 numerology. John Singleton equals 63. Hospitalized equals 63. Racism equals 63. The director 47, Singleton 47. He's born with 94 numerology, which is 47 plus 47. His full name, John David Singleton, equals 94. He had a stroke, which is 74. It's a reflection of 47. He was born in Los Angeles, California, equals 373, the 74th prime. They called the stroke mild, stroke 2538, mild 2538. Hospitalized also equals 180 or 18. Race equals 18, a day with 18 numerology. Also 43, Singleton equals 43. He was hospitalized 104 days after his 51st birthday. 104 is 14. 43 is the 14th prime. He won an Academy Award, 99, Racism 99. Interestingly enough, he was hospitalized 113 days before August 11th. He's in the ICU right now. ICU is 33. They say he was Oscar nominated. That equals 83. I'm sorry, ICU is 33. Oscar nominated equals 83. Murder 83. The family says they appreciate all the prayers that have been pouring in from his fans, friends, and colleagues. That equals 420 or 42. He went into the hospital on 420. He checked into the hospital because of, quote, pain in his legs. That equals 142. Like 42 equals 142. It also equals 74. He was the youngest person to ever be nominated for Best Director at age 24, The Reflection of 42. He won the Oscar on the 51st day of the year. Sorry about that. On the 50th, drank too much kombucha. So he won the Oscar on the 51st day of the year. He's 51 right now.
That's probably it right there. That's probably the riddle right there. That's probably what's up. I see that he's the guy who did Boys in the Hood and Poetic Justice. So yeah. Very interesting.
From February 20th to 4/20 is 8 weeks and 3 days. Like Oscar nominated, 83. It's also 59 days. That number, Black people.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Seems like he's not long for this world.
I'll look more into it. I appreciate the heads up. I missed that story, so I will give it a look. Great work as always, friend.
Well, there's lots of thanks. There's lots of stories out there.
Absolutely.
You know.
All right, man. Keep up the great work.
Yeah. You too. Thank you.
All right. You have a good night. Take care. All right. Let's go out to New York. Oh, shoot. Oh, hold on. We're going to commercial. We'll be right back, everybody. Hello? You're calling in the wrong number. You're trying to get on the show, right? Yeah, you're calling the wrong number. You got to call the 213 number. I'm on the TFR show. All right, you're calling the wrong number is what I'm saying. All right. Somebody keeps calling the Gematria hotline over and over and over, and I keep telling them they got to call the different number. It's the wrong number, and they keep responding to me, yes. So I can only assume they're like under the influence of something. They seem to be confused that they're calling the wrong number. Anyway, we got 30 minutes left. Going to be taking calls the rest of the way. Let me I see more super chats. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Very generous. Anthony Eason says, thanks for the work. Loves the book. Appreciate that you're reading the book. Means a lot. Taylor Harris says she appreciates the work, or he or she. And Gary with always the multiple donations. I do the Patreon every day. Well, it used to be a Monday through Saturday thing. Lately, it's been an everyday thing. The show always starts at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Tomorrow, it's actually going to start at 8 a.m. I'm actually getting to do a TV interview for some town in California. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. But I have to be ready to do their thing at 11 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. So some community, I think it's some small community in California, is going to get a taste of Gematria. So I'll let you guys know about that. Hopefully there'll be a way for other people to see it besides just the small town. But I thought, cool. I've never gotten to go on TV before. So I think it's like, don't get too excited. I think it's like, late night community, what do they call it? Community broadcasting. So, but a step in the right direction. I'll get you guys more information. There's so many towns in California. I really should know better. It all came on me today, and I was like between doing this and going out to do some yard work, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, 11, okay, yeah, I think I can make that happen. So I don't think they're gonna make me look bad. I don't think that's what's gonna go on. I think it's some sort of like community broadcasting. So the person who I talked to said that my work needs to reach more people. So. Kat, my book's probably the best way to learn about it, honestly. So you read the first 2 chapters, you're going to be a world ahead. All right, we're coming back from the break here. All right, it's the final 30 minutes, Truth Seeker. There's about 10 people on hold. So if you guys can all do the 1 minute awesome call thing, we'll get through everybody. Let's go out to New York City. You're on.
Hey, what's up, Zach? I got 3 points. Get to. You see what Benjamin Netanyahu said he would have named a Jewish settlement in Golan Heights after President Trump?
I did see that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that funny, right?
Joke.
I just okay. My next one is: did you see about the Boy Scouts? The story about the Boy Scouts?
Something about a lot of sexual assault, something like that, abuse.
Well, let me give you the numbers that he got on CNN. It says 7,800 former leaders over 72 years. They allegedly had 12,000 victims from 1944 to 2016. Did you see that story?
The 78 stands out, big Scottish Rite number. I'll look more into it.
Okay, and it said 1,200 victims. Okay, and the last story I got is just the last one. I saw you did the post about the Brooklyn jogger and the Chanel Lewis, the guy from Brooklyn that they sentenced to life in prison.
Right.
I don't feel that guy did. I don't feel that guy did it. Ever since that story came out, I always thought the father did it because he's the one who found her body.
Right.
The father found the body, and he blamed it on him. If you look at the guy, this guy don't even look like he can hurt anybody.
Right. Yeah, something's off about that story. That's for sure.
And then I tried to look at that video, and just like that caller said, it was some kind of restriction on that video that you did about that story too. So it must have touched somebody out there. Somebody like that story out there.
Yeah.
So could you elaborate on that story a little bit? Because I couldn't see the video, and you can put me back on mute.
Okay, if you go to the video, you just have to click yes, I want to watch it, and get past the warning screen. But maybe I'll make a new video. I'll make a new video on it and see if that solves the problem. I'll make a new video without talking so much about the Brooklyn thing, which is why I'm sure it got censored. So, you know what I mean about the Brooklyn thing, probably, if you follow my work. But yeah, something's up with that story. All right, appreciate it as always. The word boy equals 12 too in terms of the 1,200. I'm sure that's part of the 1,200 reporting with regards to the Boy Scout. That's got to be it, boy 12. All right, let's go out to Akron, Ohio.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question about if your name adds up to English Gematria and Jewish Gematria, what would that mean?
So you're saying your name in Hebrew and in English has the same numerical value?
Correct. I won't tell you what it is because, like, you could find it really easy. But I would tell you privately, but not.
Sure. No, that's fine. Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you what it means, but I think that's very interesting. There's probably not a lot of names that have that same overlap. There are a lot of parallels between Hebrew and English. For example, Kabbalah, where this whole thing comes from, has the same value in Hebrew and English. But what I would be interested in is if you've observed that number, that overlap in your life, or if you've looked at anybody else in your life and seen if they are connected to those numbers.
Well, it's interesting. My birthday adds up to kind of what they add up, 11/21. and the numbers add up to the same as 1121. So it's just really weird. I haven't seen any of the numbers add up, and I was just trying to research, and there's, I can't really find anything on that.
Okay, well, I'd probably have to have more information to figure something out, but that is very interesting, and I'm sure if you keep looking at it yourself, it'll start to make more sense, and you'll find more patterns, because that's kind of the way this works. So, very interesting.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll join Patreon and send you an email or something.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a good night. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you're welcome. You take care.
Okay.
Oh, didn't mean to cut you off, but thank you very much. Let's go out to New York City. Caller? Caller?
Hey, Zach.
Yeah, you're on.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Okay, I talked to you on Patreon and all the sports stuff. I decode the Premier League. So the caller in New York, he's always fabulous. I have something to add to what he said. And the other caller about the Hillsborough disaster. Must be Hillsborough night. Okay, I have a prediction that Liverpool's going to win the Premier League. And I'm going to tell you why. And tie it back to Hillsborough. Now, first of all, the most disgusting thing, and I'm going to be fast, about Hillsborough is that the fans were blamed. The Liverpool fans, which was totally ridiculous. They blamed them as being, drunk, buffoons, and rushing the stadium and trying to get in for free. And all that's been proven that it's complete bull. But anyway, at the time, the Premier League was known as the FA Premier League, as in the FA Cup. And that Hillsborough disaster was with an FA Cup match. And we know it's the 30th anniversary. Okay, now, Liverpool is having its 127th season in existence this season. 127, 27. It is having its 27th consecutive season in the Premier League. There's the 27th here. And the last match of their season this year, which is on May 12th, has a gematria of 27. Their theme song is called You'll Never Walk Alone. It's a very famous English song. I'm sure some people know what it is. It has its gematria of 270. Reduce it down to 27. Also, the manager of Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, this is his third full year as the manager of Liverpool. It's also the 30th anniversary of the Hillsborough disaster. You can take that 30 and reduce it to 3, at least I do. And this would be his third major title before it was in the German league. And if you go 3 times 3 times 3, that comes to 27. Also, Premier League has a gematria of 72, which is a mirror of 27. Anfield, the stadium that they play at, has a gematria of 27. The FA Premier League started on May 27th. There's the 27 again. And something really interesting is those poor souls, those 96 poor souls that died 30 years ago. Liverpool's star striker now has a gematria of 69, which is a mirror of 96. And the other guy said suffocate 96. I could go on, but that's basically what I wanted to say. And it seems like there's going to be a Boston Riddle continuing here with Liverpool winning the Premier League.
Right.
That's pretty much all I wanted to say. I could go on. But anyway, I want you guys to decode Premier League too, because that's what I do. And, I listen to you on Patreon with your sports. I do football too, basketball, not as much. But, let's get in with the Premier League too. Let's get into European soccer. Just a thought.
Well, a lot of people really want that. And I'll tell you what, I mean, if you're trying to make, if you're trying to get an audience, I'm telling you, if you start a YouTube channel and just cover that, you're going to have a bigger following than me. So you should do it.
Well, I follow you. You're my teacher. I would love to do that eventually, but I just wanted to say I think Liverpool's going to be given the Premier League this season as a basically a nod towards the Hillsborough disaster. They're going to win the Premier League.
I will keep an eye on that. It's a great thought, especially with an April 15th tragedy this year and Boston Red Sox and same ownership. So yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm going to look more at that myself. Great work.
Thanks, Zach.
All right. Have a good night. All right. Philadelphia.
Hey, Zach.
Hey.
Hey, man. Haven't been on here in a while. Been working hard. So tried to call in maybe a couple times, but I couldn't stay on. I had so many things that I needed to report, so since it's not that much time, I saw a movie called The Reader. I think it was either on HBO or Stars, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, this movie, The Reader, had a water scene where everybody was like jumping in the lake and so on and so forth, swimming and having fun. But they had diving boards, and they had, I forgot what you call those things that you put over the diving boards. But one said 215, the other one said 52, and the other one said 68. Now, I found that interesting because you have 215, which is the area code here. You have 52, where the Eagles won Super Bowl 52. And you have 68, which is 68. And 86 is the reflection number to 68. I don't know if you found that interesting, but I think that movie, they started showing that movie around that time when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And also, a friend of mine was reporting to me that when Black Panther came out, it was the 52nd edition.
Huh. Interesting.
So I'm not sure what you get from that 215, 52, and 68. They showed those three numbers.
Well, it makes me think of how number 86, Zach Ertz, scored the winning touchdown in that Super Bowl 86 days after his birthday, and the national anthem was adopted 86 years before that season, and that whole season was about the flag and the national anthem. So, yeah, the name of the movie is called what again?
It's called The Reader.
The Reader.
So The Reader is about, yes, The Reader. What's her name? Rachel Weisz, I think her name is. She's the main character when she had an affair with a teenager. Not an affair, but she had a sexual thing with a teenager. But she was running from a crime that she committed.
Okay.
So I didn't get a chance to decode her and see, like, to go into the movie and see what, how it connects to this whole 215, 52, and 68 thing. But I wanted to see if you can maybe look into that. And also, beautiful what you did with the Damian Lillard shot, which is, by the way, he did a step back three. I think he traveled on that play. And, what you lashed out, it's needed. Not the first one you did, but the second.
Right.
On them retards and all of that. So it needs to be heard. So, yeah, but I want you to be able to get to other callers. I got to get to bed.
All right. Appreciate it. I do see that movie, The Reader, released on a date with 52 numerology as well. So I will look at it more. Appreciate it, friend. You have a good night.
All
right. Take care.
You too, man. Thanks.
Welcome. All right. New York City.
How's it going, Zach? I'm gonna just spew a few things real quick I've been noticing because people would just act like idiots when they know that sports is scripted. I think it was game 2 of the Brooklyn series with Philly, and you said that Philadelphia has a theme of 2-23. Well, I think Philly went on a run. I think it was on the third quarter, and all of a sudden, Brooklyn acted like they didn't know how to play basketball, and it looked so scripted because they weren't playing defense or anything, but I think they went on a 20-2 run, if I'm not correct, somebody check it out. Another thing is Brooklyn won 42 games this year. I think that's to commemorate Jackie Robinson because he played for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Right.
Another thing is a funny thing. There's a theme going on with Pennsylvania and New York. Around the same time that Brooklyn started the playoffs, the Mets were playing the Phillies and the Islanders were playing Pittsburgh. I have a feeling that the Mets are going to go far because the last time they won the World Series was 33 years ago, and they won in 1969 as well. And it's like you can just tell the games are just so scripted. Like if you just follow the storylines behind the team this year, you could just tell who's gonna win. And that shot by Damian Lillard, I think Westbrook, he shot the game they won in OKC. The last shot that Westbrook shot, it had a major curve on it, and it was like felt that they saw that the Blazers were getting too close, so they just had to shut it down and turn on the magnets, and that ball just curved. It curved like a pitcher through it. But yeah, I just wanted to call in, and I also wanted to ask you, what's your prediction on the MLB World Series winner? And that's it. I'm pretty much done.
All right. Well, I told people before the season began, a year in advance, that there'd be a special year for the Mariners, and they got off to a very ritualistic start. So be sure to check out the work I did on the Mariners. I uploaded some videos, but I do all the sports calls on Patreon. So do appreciate it. Great observations. And you have a good night, friend. Let's go out to Jonathan. What's up, Jonathan?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, man.
Hey, yeah, I love what you're doing on Patreon.
Appreciate it.
My name is Jonathan. My channel is the #1 Infinite capital I space consciousness. One infinite consciousness with a capital C. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about just the past few days that we've been having in sports. So basically, let's see. Okay, the other day I won with Denver Nuggets, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the San Jose Sharks. Last night I won a 3-team parlay on that. The other day I won with the Denver Nuggets, Milwaukee Bucks, Washington Capitals, Texas Rangers, and the Texas Rangers riddle was when you were talking about the George Bush thing.
Right.
So it's just, I don't know, it's pretty awesome. It's like, I've been doing great lately. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't win every single bet, but I'm doing I'm winning the majority of the bets now.
Awesome, man.
And you know, I don't know if you guys talked about it earlier. I missed the first 30 minutes, but it's just like the perfect example of rigged sports was last night, like with the San Jose Sharks game.
Absolutely.
Did you talk about that?
I haven't yet, but we had the Sharks winning yesterday, and they were down 3-0 late, and then a player got really injured. They had a 5-minute penalty. They scored 4 goals and took the lead in that 5-minute penalty. People said it was the craziest hockey game ever. But what I noticed that watching the game, it's weird that it was the first time I've watched a hockey game all season. I watched the final half of that game. I noticed that when they were down 3-0, just before minutes before the injury happened in the comeback, CNN, if you go to CNN's front page, they keep 3 top stories up with pictures. In the furthest right corner, the story that emerged just minutes before the comeback was that a shark attacked a 65-year-old person in Hawaii. And I noticed that and I thought, that's weird that just came up as the top story while the Sharks are down 3-0. And I was like, what's that mean? Does that mean they're about to come back, or does it mean they're getting shark attacked themselves? And then the next thing you know, it's just like 5 minutes later, they got the lead in the game. You're like, wow, from 3-0 to 4-3 up, and San Jose equals 43. But that literally happened in real time. If you were watching the CNN front page last night,
wow,
and that story, it was crazy. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't get to watch the game. I was just following it on Twitter. But the thing was is that the thing was is that, okay, I don't care if it's the power play. You know how hard it is to score 4 goals just in a regular hockey game? For them to score 4 goals in 4 minutes, I don't care if it's the power play. For them to score 4 goals in 4 minutes, that's another example how anybody should be able to see right through it. And and like you've been talking about, the Damian Lillard shot, like it has to be technology, but they have to make it as exciting as possible. So the casual fan that's not in the hockey is going to get into hockey when they hear about a game like last night. They were calling last night's game the greatest game in Sharks history, one of the greatest playoffs games ever. So, that'll get the casual fan involved. It's just like Tiger winning the Masters. That'll get the casual fan wanting to pay attention to golf. Damian Lillard hitting the game-winning shot. They have to make it as exciting as possible, but it's so easy to see how scripted it is and how technology is being used.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So glad you're winning, Jonathan. Great to hear, man.
Yep, and I haven't been able to do a video yet because I'm traveling, but I'm gonna head your way soon, sometime this summer.
All right, I look forward to that.
All right.
All right, brother. You have a good night, man.
I'll let you go.
All right. Yeah. Take care.
Peace.
All right. Let's see. We're down to 5 minutes. We got maybe Burbank, California. California. Let me see. Let's see. California, you there? Okay, what is going on with this call board? Caller, can you hear me?
Hello, hello.
There we go. Now it's working.
Awesome. So I've been watching you since 2016, man, and you were on point with the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. That was crazy. So I shout you out on that. Because I was doing my own video, 2016, all the sports teams like football, basketball, college and professional, every team that had the worst record or the worst record than the opponent actually won the championship. And that's how I came across you, because I was trying to look up like stuff like that. But anyway, fast forward to now, one thing I want to point out is there's a guy named Rich Roddy, and he has a song called Die Young. You probably already know this, but he has a song called Die Young. Nipsey Hussle was not in the song, but at the 1 minute and 33-second mark, they showed Nipsey Hussle on FaceTime, and then right after that, the line said, "Why the legends always gotta die quick."
Exactly.
So I was just curious if you said repeat that.
Well, no. I'm glad you're calling in and reminding this. I actually did a video on this. Yeah, 133, the reflection of the day he died. 331, and he actually has 2 songs.
Yeah. Okay, so you do that.
Yeah, try to find my video on that, because he has 2 songs with that artist, and one is perfect. The newer song was the last video and single he did, and it's perfectly synced up with his death. And you can find out why he did it with that artist. So yeah, check out the video I did on that.
Okay, I'm going to check it out right now.
All right, appreciate it, man. You have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
All right, thank you. All right, Pinehurst, Texas. You're wrong.
Dude, I'm just listening tonight, man.
Just listening. I appreciate it.
Thanks. But one comment. From the start of the Pittsburgh Tree of Life synagogue attack, it's Pittsburgh, and then it's Christchurch, then Paris, then Colombo, right?
Right.
Okay, so we have a PC pattern. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
With city.
I see. Yeah.
Will this continue or not? Now, if we're talking major cities, okay? These are not small. These are major cities in their respective countries.
Right.
So can we expect Perth? So the next letter up is P again. Or Portland?
I think Portland's too small. But yeah, that's a good observation.
Yeah, you're right. Phoenix?
Yeah, that could be a city. They like the phoenix out of the ashes symbolism. Interesting.
Yeah. So I just wondered, but and I haven't done the numbers on the gematria on those cities, but there's probably some link, and it's probably not obvious either.
PCPC.
So it might not be. All right.
All right. Great observation. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's something I'm going to work on a little bit. So I am just going out there for the community.
All right. Well, great observation. I appreciate it, friend. You have a good night.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You too. Take care.
Yeah, hadn't noticed that. All right. East Bay. I think his phone's working.
Hey, Zach. Can you hear me?
We got 30 seconds. Just take us off the air. Just whatever's on your mind, I'm listening.
Yeah, sure. For the guy in New York who doesn't have a car, why don't you get everybody to donate to give him a car and then put a media skin on it that says, "What is 47?" Do it as a nonprofit, and you can put him in all cities.
That'd be awesome.
Hey, also, San Francisco, sister city, Paris, 415 is the area code.
I see it, the date.
Okay, we'll catch it.
All right, the music's kicking in. That's the end of the show, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you for listening. Be back next Wednesday. Take care, Truth Seekers. All right, that is the end of the show. For the people who are watching on YouTube, I got to wrap it up. My sweet lady last week, she lectured me. She said, "I think you like everybody else more than me." And I said, "Oh, no, of course not." She said, "You just want to talk to everybody else." And so anyway, she sees I put in too many hours and she feels like I haven't been giving her enough attention, and she's probably right. So going to wrap it up here tonight. Thank you again, everybody, for the super chats, and thank you again, everybody, just for participating and helping out and sharing. What is this? Is this guy ruining my? I'm sorry. You got to go. People who troll are just the worst. But I'm saying thank you, everybody, just for participating and calling in and sharing valuable information. And oh my goodness, what is this trolling thing? I'm just looking at the chat. I don't know how long this has been going on for, but I see that there's some sort of crazy trolling campaign here to keep spamming some long whatever that is. Jeez. Huh. It's weird that this is really weird because, oh, there's just all sorts of people here. Trolls, man. Okay. There's too many trolls here to keep up with, so. All right. One person's calling the after hours line. Let me just get him in here. What's up, caller?
Hey, Zach, it's Denise.
Oh, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. Great show, great callers. That 3 hours goes by fast.
Well, thank you.
Are you still on the air?
I am still on. I haven't hung up yet, yeah.
Cool, all right. Earlier you were talking about, it was deja vu again. I don't know if you remember saying that, but you used that phrase, deja vu again.
Kind of redundant.
And that's, but that's 95 and simple, like disaster is 95.
Huh.
And Neptune is 95. Neptune's the god of watery flows. Remember the Oroville Dam?
Right.
Well, it's having big problems again.
Huh.
Really big problems.
I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah, they gave us a big scare with that one, and then it kind of disappeared. But no surprises back. Okay.
So, do we have time? A couple minutes?
Of course
Can I
we
talk
do.
about it?
Of course we do. I got time for you. Of course.
Thanks. A little background: the Oroville Dam in California is the tallest dam in the country, and it's the third largest volume of water, and it's made of soil, not concrete. In February 12th, 2017, the main spillway had been closed for repair, and a big rain, so the lake was allowed to fill up, and a big rain caused the emergency spillway to have to flow. The emergency spillway is at 901 feet. And it's designed to literally overflow down a dirt hill. So soon afterwards, the outflow of that water started cutting toward the main 900-foot tall earth dam structure. And the authorities, even though this had been building up for a couple of weeks, hadn't talked to the public at all about what was going on. And the evacuation was ordered when a break was imminent, and 200,000 people were gridlocked on a mountain road exiting the area. The people were stuck in their cars, terrified, because if the dam was going to break, and they thought it was going to, a wall of water would have covered them in dozens of feet of water. The wave would have been over 100 feet tall. So dam managers were forced to reopen the main spillway, which was under repair, and that was soon damaged, and part of it was washed away. But miraculously, the water formed its own canyon in the opposite direction, going away from the dam, so the structure of the dam survived. Flash forward to now, $100 billion, and 2 years later, the main spillway has been rebuilt, and because the lakes are getting full with the spring runoff and a record rainy season, they decided to reopen the main spillway. And their plan was to run the spillway at 60,000 cubic feet per second, but they only got it up to 25,000 cubic feet per second before it had to be shut down because the water was damaging the spillway. The spillway hasn't been open for almost 2 weeks now, and the water has been rising 18 inches per day, and it's less than 25 feet from the 901-foot emergency spillway that runs over the earthen dam. None of this is being talked about in the news. It seems like a deja vu. And literally, we're one Pineapple Express rainstorm, an earthquake, or an upstream dam problem away from basically the same thing happening again. And the main spillway has visible damage, and many people doubt that it can be used. So it's not looking good. Here's some gematria about the story. Oroville Dam is English 756 and simple 126. New Orleans has the same gematria, as does 49, the year the gold rush started in 1849, and 45 is in President Donald Trump. The managers of the system, the water system with these dams, is the California Department of Water Resources, known as DWR, which is 45. And when you write out Department of Water Resources, that's 1962 in English, and that's the year that the work on the Oroville Dam began. The dam was dedicated on May 4th, 1968. So on May 4th, we're going to have the 51-year anniversary of the dam being dedicated, and that's right in the range at current lake level rise that they expect a problem, a possible overflow to happen.
Wow. 51, that conspiracy number.
And also 1.1 billion was the $1.1 billion was the cost to repair and rebuild that main spillway. And that's 73 in simple, as is the word sacrifice. And in the word inundation is simple 121, as is blood sacrifice. And just now, that caller who had the PCPC pattern, the largest city near Oroville is Chico, which starts with a C, and that would be wiped off the map if the dam breaks.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. I appreciate that. I didn't realize it was back in the headlines, but yeah, I always wondered what happened with
It's not in the headlines at all. The Department of Water Resources is doing the same exact thing, and there hasn't been any information at all about this since April 11th. There have been inspectors. There have been repairs. There's repairs going on in the dead of night instead of during the day. And there's no word at all. Nobody has any idea. So I would urge anybody who knows people in the area to please contact them and ask them to please start watching what's going on up there, because it looks like deja vu again, for sure. Everything that happens is like the same thing, like the first time was a drill.
Right. Yep. Yeah, they definitely prepped the mines, because I mean, that was a big news story. That's probably been at least a year and a half back now. So okay. So is it
actually from February 12th, 17 to May 1st is 108 days. I mean 801 days. Which is 108 backwards reflection.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. So are people locally talking about it then? Is that how the words are?
Nobody. And there's heavy trolling on the little citizen watch channels that are trying to have channels to talk about it. I made a couple of comments on those channels, just comments, and I've never been trolled so intensely. I think there's an active suppression right now by the water authorities. There's a lot more to this story. I hope I can call in with more information in the weeks to come, because it's really interesting.
Well, I appreciate the heads up, and I look forward to your next call. So thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this, Zach. Have a good night.
Yep, you take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's scary. I mean, so. Okay, we got a caller. All right. What's going on, Australia?
Hey, Zach.
Hello.
So I was the caller that was talking to you about the end game in the comment section before.
Right.
Right. So in Australia, it comes out 2 days early, yeah? So I was watching it yesterday. First couple of scenes, there's a scene with the Golden Gate Bridge connected to the character Scott Lang, which is the Ant-Man. And I don't know if you know anything about like the comic book genre, but this is probably the most sought after movie for like the entire last 10 years. So definitely like got the mind's eye of the masses on it. Anyway, Scott Lang equals 666 English Sumerian. In the movie, he owns a parking lot under the number 616. And as I was going through like the numerology on Gematria, you know, you press the match button, it comes up with all the things on there.
Right.
Let me just go back here. So I see ritual sacrifice is the top one, Jewish Gematria 616. 51, I'm like, okay. JFK, I'm like, all right, 616 Jewish. JFK assassination is supposed to be 666 months before 8/11, right? So I'm scrolling down and I see San Francisco CA 616 in Satanic Gematria. And I shat myself, dude. And I was like, so the next scene, so this movie pretty much like depicts how half the universe has been killed in a single snap. And it's going through San Francisco after the snap with all this desolation and death, and it's got a death memorial thing, right? And on the death memorial has his name, Scott, which is the 666 thing. If you chuck in death memorial, It equals 118 in one of the ciphers. Let me see. Just type it up here.
You still there?
Jewish ordinal. Yep.
Okay.
The death memorial is 118 in Jewish ordinal, 227 in reverse Francis Bacon, and 74 in full reduction, and 343 in Jewish, which of course is 7 times 7 times 7. So all these signs, like, according to what you said, like, so long ago, artist, yeah.
Very interesting. I'm gonna have to.
If you remember, I was the guy that also emailed you about the Queen on like May 25th, 22nd or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, I just wanted to bounce those off you and see what you thought.
Well, great observations. I'm gonna have to look more into it, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Could I just grab a quick plug for my Instagram for the Truth community?
Yeah, of course.
So if anyone wants to find more like about this stuff, I've promoted that live stream you did with Tinfoil Hat. I like spent the whole time watching it, bro. My mind was like, I've been following this for a while yet, but my mind was still fucking like blown when you just went through all the things in succession, man. So I left that in the link of my Instagram bio. It's at Truth Community, at Truth CMNTY. If anyone wants to help me with that, try to spread the word. Yeah.
Say it one more time.
It's at Truth CMNTY.
Okay. That's an Instagram.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man.
All right. Yeah. You have a good night. Thank you.
You bet.
All right. Here, I'm gonna call back somebody who just phoned in because I thought he abandoned me. Let me see.
Hello?
Hey, I called you back because you called in.
Oh, hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, man.
Yeah, I actually called like 15 minutes into the show, and then I got to the second commercial, and then I lost my spot because my phone just decided to hang up for whatever reason. So, yeah, I was planning on calling back after the show ended, but I understand you want to get off. Thanks for calling me back. So, yesterday was the 113th day of the year. Is that right?
Right.
So sorry if I get a little confused, but basically what I want to share, I was just going through CNN yesterday, and I saw an article about there being an earthquake in the Philippines, and there were some deaths. So I think they said around 18 dead. So I don't know why it wasn't like a top headline, but it was definitely on the front page. And what was so interesting was that the headline, I have it open right now, and it says Philippines 6.1 magnitude earthquake leaves 11 dead, 30 feared trapped. So that's the title of the headline. So 113th day of the year, 11 dead, and 30 feared trapped. So immediately I see the number 113.
And they got another trick in there because the 113 is the 30th prime. So that's why they did it that way.
Right. And so, we've obviously been paying attention to August 11th, and we were basically hinting at, maybe there might be an earthquake. Obviously, in MLB, they're going to host the Earthquake World Series, and there's just so much more. So I was just, I did a date span, and I'm just thinking outside the box, because so I'm not saying, basically what I'll share, I'm not saying it is absolutely a part of the riddle, but, just exploring, because with the Philippines, just thinking outside the box a little bit, it kind of reminds me of the initial of Philadelphia. And we understand that Philadelphia is a big part of this August 10th, August 11th riddle. The best way I put it is that it seems like San Francisco, Golden State has been stamped with the numbers of Philadelphia, absolutely. But obviously there's been ongoing riddles in the sports leagues, and for many years, I think even before many of us were even born. So, call it a curse or whatever you want to call it. But to me, the best way I can put it is it seems like San Francisco's been stamped with this Philadelphia mark. And so the Philippines, there's an earthquake. What's interesting is when it happened, it was 4/23, 113th day of the year in the Philippines. But for us, it was the day before. So Philippines is always about a day ahead of us. So for us, it was April 22nd, like the number 422. And, I call 422 a Golden State number, like San Francisco. 422 and its reflection 224 are just such big numbers to San Francisco. Golden State in Jewish gematria is 422. Hold on, I just want to pull up some of my notes. Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant, they were both born 422 years after the real King James. And we had that movie San Andreas, starring Dwayne Johnson. And the release of that film to Tisha B'Av is 4 years, 2 months, 2 weeks. And the reason why I'm so confident that this number 422 is a big number to San Francisco is because its reflection 224 is what I call the Society of Jesus number. Obviously 224, there's there's a whole bunch of other things that come to 224, but in light of how important the Society of Jesus to everything that's going on today, 224 is a big SOJ number, and it's been used. That number's been used countless times in rituals involving San Francisco. If you want to just talk about sports, with the Warriors all the time, 224. So I thought that was interesting that we had that earthquake. Again, it was the 113th day of the year in the Philippines, but for us, we were on April 22nd, which is, I guess, the 112th day of the year. So I just looked into that a little bit deeper. So the earthquake was reported to be in the island of Luzon, spelled Luzon, and Luzon in gematria, in Jewish gematria, is 810. 810, and in Jewish ordinal, it's 81. I think the last time I called you, I made the point about how, 810 is a big number. The Franciscan order is 810 years old. August 10th, obviously, is the date written 8/10. And, I've been thinking just a little bit deeper about that date over the past couple of weeks. And, it turns out that date's pretty special. August 10th also expressed 10/8. Is 108 not one of the big numbers to San Francisco as well? Oracle 108, big geometry number. Again, San Francisco, the land of pi, geometry 108. The 1906 earthquake was on the 108th day of the year. Could there have been a more perfect date? And I think it just did the reunion for the 113th anniversary of that. On the 108th day, which was a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, and London Breed was there. Every picture she posted, there was a picture of a giant cat somewhere in the picture. So I found that pretty interesting. And yeah, that was the 113-year anniversary, I believe it was. And, Go Save Your Day, I just did a quick Google search. They did a 108-year anniversary as well, which would have been 5 years ago. So,
Amazing.
I know we're juggling a couple numbers here right now, but I'm just going to keep going. So yeah, the island where this earthquake was, Luzon, 810 in Jewish. So maybe at this point we gotta think maybe it is a part of the riddle. I'll remind that the San Andreas fault line is also 810 miles long. And in numerology, 810 dropped to 0. We have an 81. Golden Gate Bridge forward and reverse is 81. Right now, the Golden Gate Bridge has been up for 81 years. So, real quick, going back to the connection I was making between the Philippines and Philadelphia, which, might be kind of a stretch, but we're just thinking outside the box here because we understand the riddle. And when you understand the riddle, you kind of have a permission to venture out a little because that's how you make new discoveries. But so the country code for the Philippines, the initials, the abbreviation is PHL. Turns out that those same abbreviation, the 3 letters, are for the Philadelphia International Airport. So, PHL, those 3 letters have a connection to the Philippines and Philadelphia. Okay, PHL in satanic gematria is 141. I've been away from this community for a couple of weeks. The 141, I believe 141st prime is 811.
Right.
PHL is also 88 in Jewish. Interesting. PHL is also 108 in English extended. So anyone can put this in the calculator immediately. For me, a bunch of numbers jump out. PHL 45 in reverse ordinal. 45, big number to our riddle here. So So yeah, that's about it for the earthquake bit. I just, when I saw that 11 dead, 30 trapped, I mean, they were just tempting me to decode that. But another thing, I was scrolling through YouTube yesterday, and you know how YouTube recommends you the movie, or you can buy a movie and watch them. There's a movie that was on my recommended called Bumblebee. I haven't watched it, don't know much about it. All I know is that it's, I think, the last installment in the Transformers series.
Okay.
But what caught my attention was the cover art of the movie. There was the Golden Gate Bridge. So, I mean, it seems like a relatively new movie. Turns out it was. Came out late last year. And, we're paying attention to the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, I'll look into it. So, immediately click on the preview or whatever it is, the commercial, the preview of the movie. And it's 2 minutes and 23 seconds long.
Of course.
All right, YouTube. Now you got my attention. So I decode the movie a little bit. Turns out the movie has a runtime of 113 minutes, and we just celebrated the 113th year anniversary. Not celebrated, but they took the day to remember the 1906 earthquake 113 years ago.
Right.
Just got done talking about 113. On Wikipedia, it might say 114 minutes, but if you actually go on YouTube, YouTube will tell you it's 113 minutes. The exact time is 113 minutes and 53 seconds. So I guess you can round up and call it 114, but 113 minutes.
Right.
Not quite 114. So in this movie, I don't really know too much about Transformers, but cars turn to robots, robots turn to cars. I think the main character of this movie, the yellow car, the Bumblebee, he is a Volkswagen. Okay, so Volkswagen, let's see here, Volkswagen is 141, and I believe that's in one of the 4 base ciphers. And the initials and the logo of the Volkswagen, VW, is 45. Again, 45, number I talked about just earlier. And what's the real trick is that the Volkswagen company, they were founded on May 28th, 1937. Okay. And the Golden Gate Bridge opened a day before that, just one day, right? May 27th, 1937, 81 years ago. They'll turn 82 in about a month, right? So one day apart. But when you understand that, okay, May 27th in the United States is May 28th in Germany, where the Volkswagen company was founded, then you realize that, the same day that the Golden Gate Bridge opened, is the same day that this Volkswagen company was founded. And I mean, I wasn't even trying to decode anything last night. I just was scrolling through YouTube, and they tempted me. I decoded it, and turns out this is what I found. So,
crazy.
I mean, it's just a trip. The movie had a $135 million budget. 135, big number as well. Golden Gate Bridge, 135. I was just talking about Philadelphia. 135 is the Philadelphia number. Bumblebee in Jewish Gematria is 271, the 58th prime. That's a date with 58 numerology, right? 51, I think you talked about it a lot with regards to this weekend. From the release date of that movie to the weekend we're looking at is 233 days, like Messiah is 233. I think there's a few other words that are 233, but I can't remember off the top of my head. If you include the end date, it's 33 weeks and 3 days. So I'm just documenting that part. The other big number with San Francisco, probably one of the biggest actually. I know I've been saying that with the couple numbers, but I think most of us know that 122 is a big number to San Francisco. I mentioned San Andreas, the movie earlier, starring The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson was born on the 122nd day of the year. Turns out the main character of this movie, Bumblebee, her birthday is 122 days after 8/11. And the other star in this movie is John Cena, who was born on the 113th day of the year, which would have been yesterday. And I just talked a whole lot about 113. So the main character, where I was just saying her birthday is 122 days after 8/11. Her name is, again, 271 in one of the 4 base ciphers. That's the 58th prime, just like Bumblebee is 271 in Jewish. Her name is also 134 in ordinal Kabbalah cipher, also known as the English QA Bala cipher. Very relevant cipher in my book. So 222, obviously August 10th is the 222nd day of the year. And in the most pure cipher, her name is 71. And I believe that's a big number to Israel as well, with 10 holding 71 and a whole lot more. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I'm just about done here. That date, August 10th, yeah, I think I did mention it. It's express 10/8, so 100 a day. Yeah, that basically wraps up what I wanted to share today. Great show. Good to talk with you. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, good to hear from you, man. Keep up the good work. About that August 10th date, the video that I've shown a few times over the years, there's a Freemason headquarters tour, the House of the Temple. It's like, it's 30-some minutes long, however long that video is. If you do House of the Temple tour and scan through YouTube, you'll see a video that's 30-some minutes long. That'll be the one. But well, I've shown clips from that video before. But in the middle, because they're doing a tour of the lodge, and in the, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes into it, somewhere in the middle of it, they talk about how the date August the 10th, every year there's this strange astrological alignment, and how they've set up their architecture to pay tribute to that August 10th astrological alignment. So I got to go back and look at that. I just remember there's something else there about August 10th, the 222nd day of the year. So.
Right, 222nd day of the year, and 108 is like this huge occult number, like all the interior angles of the pentagram, 108 degrees.
Exactly.
Geometry number.
Exactly. And as above, so below is 222, and the geometry has everything to do with the stars and the earth and the moon. So yeah, it makes sense. So.
Right. So I guess I'll just close up by saying, yeah, I mean, seems like we're pretty spot on with this riddle. It's pretty undeniable at this point. So. I'm going to say, I'm drawing blank here, but I guess what I will say is, if something doesn't happen on that day, I think people need to understand that, it's not like a knock on Gematria at all. We're merely a community of observers. We present facts, we present alignments, and if something does not happen on that weekend, which technically we should all be hoping for, I know it's kind of hard, we want to be right, we want to feel like, we've been paying attention to the right thing, but at the same time, we got to understand what we're alluding to here is a tragedy. So we should all, find that balance where we hope that, something doesn't happen, and if something does not happen, that should actually be something to celebrate. And can anyone really tell us that we did not impact a change? I don't know if anyone can really say that we did not, in the event that something does not happen on that weekend. So that's just my 2 cents. Again, thanks for taking my call, Zach, and I'll speak with you soon.
All right, appreciate it. You have a good night, friend.
All right, you as well. Bye-bye.
And he's been gone, but like I said, we had the 2 religious structures burn 118 days before August 11th. You had Notre Dame and the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, which is the main site we're watching on August 11th, besides San Francisco. I see somebody's calling in. I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer anymore because I said I was going to get off 37 minutes ago, actually. So I need to get off, or I'm going to have an unhappy customer here. But I do appreciate everybody, and I will be back tomorrow, and I'll let you know about this interview that's supposed to go on the TV somewhere in California. So have a good rest of your night, everybody. Until next time, Truth Seeker.